subsectors, including accommodation, attractions, entertainment, transportation, and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
Hi, I'm Eliana Charles, and I'm here with my father, Burnout Charles, and today we will be planting a guava tree.
And that's our favorite fruit, and we got this tree from the forestry department. So let's get it done. Some of the tools you need when planting a tree: a fork, you'll need a shovel, a good old machete.
And you need a watering can.
The first thing we're going to do is we dig a hole and make sure that it is deep enough, wide enough to fit the tree. And we're going to keep, of course, our soil so we can backfill the hole. We have planted our guava tree, and we invite the entire Jamaica to plant a tree. Plant a tree,
Protect Jamaica,
and preserve the planet.
Do you have the Reggae Jamaica mobile app on your phone? No? Well, you could be missing out on news, views, interviews, events, and so much more about the impact of reggae music across the globe. Information at your fingertips about Reggae Month and other exciting reggae events. That's the Reggae Jamaica mobile app, now available in the Apple or the Google Play Store. Get it now!
Everybody wanna feel. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Reggae University inside of Reggae Month as we celebrate Reggae Month all of February. Thank you for joining us today, and I promise you we have a very exciting program lined up for you with some amazing guests, some folks I've known before, some folks I'm just meeting, and just reading through people's bios and getting the information. I'm quite excited to see where this conversation is going to go today, and I'm supremely happy that you're able to take the time to be with us. What we're talking about this evening is staying fit in this rat race: mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives. Of course, you know, it couldn't just be mental, physical, and spiritual. We've got to tie it into our creatives. So again, welcome. My name is Sharanda Farrell, and I will be guiding the conversation this evening as best as I can, and I will try my best not to get too emotional, you know, because, you know, we're actresses, so I like the trouble. I will maintain my composure, and I would like to welcome my guests on set. Savannah, who is a recording artist. Savannah, please tell us a little bit about you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I am a singer, songwriter, actress, film director.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, have I seen any of the films that you've directed, possibly?
No, they're just, all of them have been web-based so far, and they've all actually been focused on telling the story of Black people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been to kind of give voice to Black stories, Black narratives.
So when you say web-based, is it something that we could potentially access?
Absolutely, yeah. You could search FAIR on YouTube. You could also look for They Still Want to Kill Us, and you could look for Ride Out to Vote.
Okay, excellent. All right, tell me a little bit about your music, though.
Oh, my music, I just released a single yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It's called Brand New, and it was done on Colors Stage. They have a huge platform, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and it's a beautiful song. I love it. Talks about love. Actually, it's the dreamy version, like the fantasy version of love, which I find myself writing about a lot.
Nice, nice. All right. So since it's not a one-on-one interview, I'm not going to ask you too much more about your business and your inspiration.
Okay.
Also. All right. Tavia Benjamin is a social impact strategist and an author. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tell us a little bit more about you other than what I just said.
Thank you so much for having me. Well, I write poetry. I love words. As you saw there, I'm an author of a book called Words Beyond the Page, which is a compilation of poetry. And on the social impact side, it's really about cause marketing. So I write social impact projects that affect society. Recently, I wrote an anti-bullying project called I Am Human. You can find it on YouTube. I directed a docu-film, an anti-bullying docu-film.
Nice.
And the name of it is I Am Human JA. You can find it there and watch the story there.
Wonderful,
Amazing.
wonderful. All right. I definitely need to know more about each of you and what you do and how it relates to mental health. But we also have guests on Zoom. Tahuti Mahat. My God, please tell me I got that right after you corrected me before we went on camera.
Perfect. I mean, couldn't be better, actually.
I understand that you're a lifestyle transformational consultant. What exactly does that mean?
Well, what that means is that I help people to transform their lifestyles from wherever they are to another place with the hope that that other place is healthier. And essentially, most of the problems we have are not solved by restoration of symptoms, so to speak, but a transformation of the lifestyle, getting to another place where you actually can start to address the root of the problem rather than just getting some kind of symptomatic relief. So I like to deal with the root, and I am a student of nature.
Nice. All right, it sounds like we're going to talk after this done. All right, Ken Reese Carter. Ken Reese, are you online with us? Hi. Lord, you smell nice and bright. I like it. Please tell us a little bit about you instead of me diving into this bio. Not hearing you. Are you sure you are not muted? Do you want to double check for me?
I am unmuted now.
All right, wonderful. This Zoom
Thank you so much for having me, Sharonda. I'm pretty sure we met before somewhere in the past.
We have.
I remember meeting you.
We have.
Huge. You know, I want to say first of all, before I even talk about myself, shout out to Tahuti, right? Because I'm about to tell you about my transformation, and that actually happened while I was working in corporate because of this very man, right? So now, and when I saw him on the bill, I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a powerful connection. So I'm actually a board certified clinical nutritionist. I am so sorry. Let me just make sure all the devices
we
are
have a penny jar for the folks on Zoom. So every time something goes off,
I'm on mute. But my computer decided to do that. That's what happens with Apple, right?
Okay. So maybe it's not a penny jar, it's a $100 jar, but keep going.
We can afford it, right? So just a little bit about my background. So I actually spent a number of years studying nutrition. I started out as a health coach. And throughout my journey, you know, working in corporate Jamaica and wider to corporate America, I decided to actually become a clinical board certified nutritionist, which means that I do functional nutrition, which is very similar to what Tahuti does, but kind of a different spin. I do work with people with chronic illnesses. Currently today, though, I do work for a clean pharmaceutical company, the first of its kind in America, and I'm the vice president of human resources. There are VP of people and culture. And there's a lot, you know, intertwined in that in terms of what I do, in terms of my role there and how that plays into my background in nutrition. Okay. And that's it in a nutshell.
Wonderful. All right. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to say thank you to our sponsors who have made this possible. It's the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Chase Fund, VM Group, AutoSmart, Starlight Production, Footprints Cafe, and Creation Foods. And remember this evening, what we're talking about is staying fit in this rat race, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives. So you're sitting closest to me, so I'm going to start with you. So clearly you're a creative. That's why you're here. Yes. You're a singer. Let me take it to a very obvious place, the COVID situation. Yeah. How did COVID and what happened during the time of COVID, because COVID don't gone, but you know, we're learning now we've adapted, so we're surviving. How did that affect your mental health as a performing artist?
Detrimentally.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is, I was quarantined by myself in my apartment, alone, right?
Wow.
And we were terrified. They were telling us, oh, if you buy a grocery, you have to wash it off because the germs are going to kill you. It was very frightening, and not being able to go anywhere, just the option being taken away of going someplace. I know that, you know, the rich people, them could have do the staycation at the hotel and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But
that ain't us.
For some of us who were afraid of doing even that, right? I was by myself, and I don't know, things didn't feel tangible for a little while. Yeah. It was very scary. Sometimes I had to hug myself to remember that I was real. It was the cabin fever. I don't know. I just get an extreme version because I am used to traveling a lot. and performing here and there and so on, and it really got to me.
Yeah, I remember the first couple of weeks we went to the supermarket. I have 2 teenagers, and my daughter was already a germaphobe.
Yeah.
So when we went to the supermarket and we bought all the snacks, she would be spraying them down and then washing down everything.
Yeah.
And my mother is over 70. So there was all that frenzy, you know, of how do we stay fit, healthy, how do we ensure that we're all okay, you know,
Exactly.
and she's at risk, and you know, and we have to do this and we have to do that and we have to do that. And I remember I made a post during that time, it's still on my Instagram, I'm really not going to take it down, where I know I looked a little crazy, if that's the word, because I really, and it was probably just about 3 weeks in, because it's interesting how we don't even recognize what freedom means until it's taken away from us. Yeah. So for me, that was one of the hardest thing for me, you know, the fact that I just had to be still, but you were by yourself.
Yes.
At least I had my children.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So in terms of, aside from hugging yourself to remind yourself that, you know, you're there, what were some of the methods that you used?
I wrote a lot. I was up. I have anxiety. I struggle with anxiety and depression. And so I found myself up a lot. My insomnia was kind of just ravaged me in those early times. No, still, but more so then. And whenever I was awake, whenever I'd find myself awake in the middle of the night, I would just dance around in my apartment, just like, you know, or I'd call my friends, you know, FaceTime was a savior. They would call me so that she's all right, call my sister, call my niece and my nephew and my family overseas. So.
How did this affect the type of music that you wrote, though?
Ugh. God, we did write some sad songs still. I think, honestly, I'm a sad songwriter.
Okay.
In general, is that a good thing to say about myself? But
that's all right. That's like how some actresses are dramatic actresses versus comedic actresses.
I think my songwriting and my musical style is really emotional, right? And so it got dark. It got dark.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes you only need to express that. So I don't know if I'll even probably share that music that I wrote, but yeah.
Sometimes it's just about having an outlet to let it out, but not necessarily to share it with everybody else. Tavia, I understand that you are also into farming
and gardening. Yes.
Right. So tell me if that is something that you could potentially use to help with mental or physical health in any way.
Absolutely.
And how you do that?
For me, my plants, I love them. I use them as my time of meditation. I take care of them. It is very therapeutic when you plant some pepper seeds and you go outside and you see them popping up. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. And just being able to take care of them, just having that moment of stillness allows you to really just get into yourself and to your mind. And even commenting on the question you posed before, what I noticed is during that time, it became more important to look at what I feed myself, because there was information coming from everywhere about all sorts of things. I had to filter. I had to really filter a lot of the things that came in and really become more still and understand myself more. And gardening and farming really helped with that. And I was lucky to have my niece with me. I actually videotaped some of the series. You can find it on YouTube, Grounded Poetry Garden, where I basically planted with her and then also wrote poetry to complement these. And so that really helped to just kind of, you know, settle my mind. So I'm not too focused on all the negative energy that's coming all around me.
So we just spoke about farming and planting, and so I want to kind of bring Tahuti in. You mentioned that you deal a lot with, you know, kind of just going back to the earth. How exactly has your work in going back to the earth, how has that helped in terms of wellness for your clients and for yourself?
Well, my journey into natural living and natural health really began with an excitement that I felt whenever I heard the word nutrition. When I was a little young boy, not even understanding what nutrition was. And as I learned more and more over time, I then noticed that I had a very intense appreciation and attachment to nature, you know. And Wherever I found myself from I hit my 20s, you know, whether it was on a rented property or some property owned by a family or what have you, instinctively, intuitively, immediately, a garden starts to form around me. If I'm in a hotel for a week, I'm going to end up having some bottles with water and plants that survive in water surrounding me. So there's this intuitive connection that I've had towards nature. Therapeutically, I began with herbs and self-practice, use myself as an experiment together with the research. And then I went into food and studied nutrition in the medical faculty. And while all of that was happening, I think I was evolving not just on the physical level, but also on the spiritual level, because I was learning and teaching yoga. You know, I was involved in almost every holistic organization. I was the president of the Vegetarian Society for 10 years. I was the chairman of the board of directors of Oneness Holistic, which hosted the only 2 holistic expos in Jamaica. And my whole life just seemed to be drawn into nature. And it's a personal walking experience that, although I never ever planned to share necessarily with others or premeditated helping others, just out of love and interacting with people, I found myself, you know, sitting in a chair and then talking to people. So it couldn't have happened without going to the earth and growing the herbs and so on, and learning about the healing properties of foods and so on. So I guess you could say the therapeutic aspect of herbs and foods have played their part in terms of bringing me to where I am in my practice. As a detoxification facilitator, for example, I rely heavily on herbs and fruits, vegetables, and so on to facilitate the detoxification experience. And because fresh or freshness is critical, that's where the garden comes in. There's a very special thing, and I listened to what Tavia was saying, very inspiring. When you can grow, you know, put that seed in the earth and watch it grow and then harvest it and then consume it. You know, very different when you go to a supermarket and purchase and then
there's
consume.
a different kind of connection that you make with it, because you've actually seen the process as it goes through, and then you helped it to grow, and it in turn helps you to be well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And the whole concept of green thumb is one that I've always interpreted from the perspective of just the compassion that you give to your plants. I mean, you know, the plant, you know, you love that plant. So if it's drying out, you're going to water it. If there's a bug on it, you're going to pick it. You're going to be concerned. If you see some white flies on it, you're going to do something about it. And essentially, that love that you give to the plant manifests in how you take care of it. And so the plant blossoms and it does very well. You take care of the plant, it takes care of it.
Right. So I want to bring Ken Reese in on the conversation. The word wellness has been tossed around. You know, we're in this new era where we talk a lot about wellness and physical wellness and mental wellness and all that kind of good stuff. So Ken Reese, I want you to tell us, based on your experience, what does wellness really mean?
Wow, that's a tough one, Sharonda. I think that wellness for me personally, first of all, wellness is what it means to an individual, right? Because what I see is a lot of people have, first of all, wellness has like 9 dimensions, right? So you're talking about spiritual, financial, you know, and all the alleys that you can think of, right? So when somebody talks about wellness, you know, it has to be a wholesome perspective. It can't just be, okay, I'm somebody that goes to the gym and I can lift 100 pounds or 300 pounds, but then the rest of your life is a hot mess. You're suffering from, you know, mental issues that you're not dealing with, you know. And I'm going to answer it in a little different way, because I want to say 2010, my math is not so good. 2010, I had an epiphany. I was working for a large telecoms firm, and I remember going to Tahuti, and, you know, I remember with us talking about the dark night of the soul. You know, I had this really great job. I was making a lot of money, but I just was not happy, you know. And I remember Tahuti, I still have those notes, by the way, and I kept them, right? I take them with me everywhere I go. And, you know, Tahuti, this is happening to your kidneys because you're going through a metamorphosis, like you're not fully all together there. And I think I was actually going through depression at the time, and I didn't even understand why I was going through depression, you know. And we talked a lot about wellness. We talked a lot about, and don't get me wrong, I do not want to minimize depression. I do know there's a clinical component where, you know, there's chemical imbalances. But a lot of times when people are going through depression, it's some of the times, let me say that so I don't get in trouble, it's not as complex as you think it is. And part of it is not being your full self. And to me, that kind of encompasses that whole ideology of wellness, right? And, you know, that took me on a journey. And of course, the journey led me to many countries later. And here I am today, right? Helping other people to understand themselves, helping them to understand what balance, and I put that in air quotes, what balance really means and what it means to be fully well, showing up as your authentic self. You know, are you, and one is not, you can't really transfer one piece to the other. So you have to put in the work. You know, I remember this morning I was actually in the gym with my trainer and I said to him, I can no longer tell people that it's 90% diet. That's not true. It's a misnomer to tell somebody that everything is 90% diet because there's so many different components for your whole being to be well. I don't want to go on and on, Sharonda, but I hope I answered a part of your...
That's fine. I want to toss something out to any one of you who wants to answer. So we've spoken a little bit about mental health. We're obviously going to talk a lot more about that. But Tahuti mentioned something before that has been resting on me for a while, and anybody can kind of jump in and respond to this. When we talk about spirituality and spiritual wellness, what does that actually mean to you as an individual? Anybody?
Well, let me start off. I mean, for me, spirituality is connecting with who I am and also connecting with a force that is higher than me. And I respect that for everyone, it can mean different things. And it doesn't mean that you go and pray to someone, but it can also mean you go and pray to someone. But it means that you appreciate that there's more to everything around you than you. There's always something greater than you. When I sit and I place my foot on the earth, I can appreciate that there's so much going on there that is greater than me right here. And for me, that can also be spirituality.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think for me, yes, spirituality is that. But then I also look at it as, you know, you have your physical self, you know, and then you have your soul and your spirit. And that when I think spirituality and I think spirit, that's what I think of. The part of myself that is working or should be working in synchronicity with my physical body. And in many ways, it's the light that you see when you look into like people's eyes, and it's the thing that you tap into when you pray or when you meditate. And so for me, spirituality is really just connecting with the not necessarily visible, but very potent, very crucial part of me that's connected to everybody else too. And you know, that energy.
What she said, I like that, Savannah. That's such a powerful thing. I feel like spirituality for me is that untapped power that most people don't know that they have, you know. It's about just experiencing life in so many different ways. You know, for me, for example, I went on a spiritual journey for a 10-year run of just reading and evolving and experiencing and creating magic, doing things people told me, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, well, watch me, you know. And, you know, spirituality for me is the over 50, 60 countries that I've visited. I've lived in quite a few, and just seeing different people, different ethnicities, understanding that whole diverse force, recognizing that, like you said, like everybody else has echoed, that it's something greater than myself, you know, and paying homage to that. And the biggest thing is connecting with the earth. Like, you know, for me, spirituality is definitely magic.
All right. Tahuti, you want to jump in? Add anything, please?
Yeah, well, I mean, everything everybody has said is just so awesome. You know, I mean, for me, spirituality in essence is a journey towards self-knowledge, you know, and in discovering your true self, which has always been with us, you know. It watches us grow, it watches us change, it watches us evolve, it watches us in pain, it watches us in laughter, that part of you, which is always present, which we become quite aware of when we get still, you know, and the more we touch base with that divine aspect of us, is then the more we are able to exercise and manifest compassion. And I see spirituality as making those connections with nature and other people. So we see the oneness between us. And, you know, I see spirituality as more about breaking down the walls and the divisions that separate us, and more about connecting with the things that we share in common. You know, so from that perspective, it's almost like the antithesis of religion, although there are overlaps.
I didn't want to bring up the religion conversation, religion versus spirituality. It's at the back of my mind, but I'm going to leave it alone because that's not what this panel is about. What I will ask, though, is, well, I will say this first of all. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to do an audio documentary on mental health in Jamaica. And myself and my company were fortunate enough to, you know, to be runners-up. It was an international thing. And thank you very much. We try. And one of the things, when I was doing my research, one of the things that sat with me, it's something I've known since I was growing up, but you know, sometimes when you actually started the research and talk to other people, you realize you're not you alone in other space there. I realized that within Jamaica and the wider Caribbean, mental health is not a conversation that we're trained to have, right? If you have whatever kind of issue as a child or teenager, even as a grown-up, because when you're big, you're supposed to be big and bad, you're not supposed to feel certain things, man not supposed to have emotion and all of them things. What I found is when we go up against walls that we would call mental health challenges, issues, whatever the right term is, we are not encouraged to talk about it. We're not encouraged to identify that it is that. And therefore, a lot of people don't even have the tools to really deal with it. So I want to know amongst all of us, if there's anybody here who has had any experience like that, whether it's with yourself or with somebody else or something, where you have come up on an issue that you know in your heart of hearts, it is mental health, but because of how we are trained to not talk about it, or how we're not trained to talk about it, it was handled in a way that was not the best way to handle it. Kenry, you want to start with that one, please?
Boy, I was hoping she didn't pick on me. Like, don't pick me, teacher, but no, for real.
You put up your hand, you know. Oh,
yeah. apparently my computer is doing that. I didn't do it. No, I've seen many instances. So in my line of work, and I'm sure Tahuti deals with this as well, as integrated practitioners, there is a component that we have to be trained, not necessarily to deal with it, but to be able to identify it and then, you know, send the persons to the right, practitioners who can assist them. I've seen that so many times, particularly when I was living in Jamaica, where people would clearly have an issue based on the behavior, based on the things they're saying, you know, potential self-harm. And you would hear, walk it off or you know, kind of downplaying it, when you know that this is something that really needs to come to the forefront. And I just hope that if anybody is listening and feeling that way, know that you can reach out and get help, because mental illness is something that it doesn't have a face. You don't see it, but you know it based on the thoughts that you're harboring. For example, my first encounter with depression myself was actually postpartum depression. You know, 2007, I had my first child. And I had no idea about postpartum depression at the time, and it wasn't as big as it is today. And I felt like I was going crazy. I remember going to work. Thank God my boss was German. At the time, I worked for the telecommunications firm. We're not giving them any free credit.
Don't
here.
say if them want, them can sponsor we, but want to.
Okay, well, do yourself. Okay, I was working for a German man at the time. He was the director of products, and I told him what was going on. We were great friends, and you know, he told me that he thought I was going through this thing. And I went to a very well-known psychologist who told me, no, you don't, psychiatrist, or I can't remember which one it was, and they said, no, you don't need medication. But they still didn't give me the guidance. Thank God. I met Tahuti around that same time, and we realized it was just simply, when a lot of times, you know, you have a child, you're depleted nutritionally, because I wasn't prepared as I should have been, as now I know better today. So therefore, I was having that chemical imbalance, wasn't getting enough sun, and the story goes on and on. But the point is, I was feeling those things. You know, I remember driving and feeling a sense of somebody's literally going to kill me, you know? And I remember telling my parents, thank God they're more forward thinking, but I remember telling other people, and I kind of felt like they didn't understand, you know, or you're going to be okay. That's all I could hear. Nobody was telling me, hey, go and seek help. You know, it could have turned out worse. Thank God, you know, I don't even remember how I got in touch with Tahuti, but somebody put me in touch and we figured it out, you know, slowly but surely. And I'm pretty sure I had a couple times when I went to him because nobody else could help, you know? And true. I think it's so important that when you're feeling whatever you're feeling, to vocalize it.
I'm going to add to that, though, because I, too, experienced postpartum depression when I had my son. I don't remember what happened when I had my daughter. That's a blur. But when I had my son, I know I experienced it. It was so vivid. I was sitting on the veranda, and I had my children a year apart. So it's almost like I had twins. Yeah. I was sitting on the veranda. The baby was crying. He was probably about 2 months. And if you have kids, you know how that goes, you know. A lack of sleep, and you're breastfeeding, and so it's taking so much out of you. And again, like Henry said, nobody speaks to us about things like these. So when you're feeling something, first of all, you don't know that you're going to feel something, or you may feel something, because there's no conversation around that. So when I started to feel what I was feeling, fortunately, I had read some things, so I knew what I was feeling. Otherwise, it could have been far more devastating. I literally heard myself telling myself to take up that knife and kill my child. I kid you not. I heard it, but I knew what was happening. And so I went outside and I took a walk, went back inside, took up the baby, breastfed him some more, and we both fell asleep.
Yeah.
It's
well,
real.
I heard, you know what, Sharonda, I wanted to be very cautious.
No, not cautious around here. Talk straight.
No, but say something. I heard many different things when I had my daughter, including through the window.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. At the time, it was so painful for me because I was this happy-go-lucky person, never experienced and always the life of the party. And here it was, all of a sudden, I had this newborn child. Things are coming from different directions, if you know what I mean. And nobody prepared me. Now I actually, the area of nutrition that I specialize in is hormone health. And I am now teaching women, especially my research was in perimenopause, for women who are, you know, in that 40 and going up before they get to menopause, because that's a whole other conversation, right? And what we don't do very well is tell people to prepare them for the different life cycle stages, right? So every different stage, from the puberty stage going on to, you know, the midlife crisis that people go through, requires, and I know we're talking about how do we stay healthy in a rat race, requires a different set of health tools and technology. And most people don't tell them. I am no proponent. I know, Tahuti, you're more focused on, like, you know, raw foods and things. Now that I've gone to clinical school, I no longer am a proponent of any one diet. Now, if you ask me what I eat, I will tell you, but because I understand that there are different clinical applications, sometimes, depending on what that individual is going through, you're going to need to apply that. And it's no different from when that mental thing is going on. Because let's say, for example, you're on medication. Some of those medications deplete certain nutrients, right? Which means you're going to have to replete by building back up. So a lot of nutrients, medications we take, for example, depletes your B vitamins, which is important for the mitochondria, right? And I don't want to get too technical, but Tahuti, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't take those particular nutrients or have enough in your diet, what's going to happen is that you're going to malfunction. Think about putting sugar in your gas tank, right? Don't make any logical sense, right? And we do the same thing in our bodies. We put the wrong things in, things go haywire, and then our brains are not functioning correctly. And some of these very symptoms that we're having is based around that, right? And then we don't have the real conversations. And then we don't have the right practitioners. I've been dying to come back to Jamaica to do some of these things. And I'm so happy that JARIA actually invited me on this panel, because I see the craziness that's going on. And Tahuti, I know you can't fight it alone. We probably need to reconnect, right?
And, you know, just to jump in on what she talked about in terms of us malfunctioning, sometimes I notice, even with friends or colleagues, is that you notice a change in how you operate, but it's not so drastic that you would say, oh, I'm depressed, but you're sleeping a lot throughout the day. You're not productive, you're procrastinating. Those things, as I've read, is a sign of some form of depression or some form that your mental health is not where it's supposed to be. And you know,
showing up as your best self.
Maybe somebody would say, oh, you just have dropsy, oh, you're just tired, oh, you this, but you're not paying attention. Okay, there is something that is clearly wrong.
Change.
I need to get out more. I need to get some sun.
Yeah.
I need to eat better.
Yeah.
I'm eating all sorts of junk. People say, oh, Tavia, cook every day. Yes, I cook every day because I want to feel well. So, you know, looking at those kinds of things too, I find are very, very important.
Yeah.
Yes, Savannah, you wanted to jump in?
No, I was thinking about you saying...
I'm coming to you, Tati.
Yeah,
we can't have this conversation without you. Welcome, man, welcome. Yeah.
No, I was thinking about what you said about... Yeah. No, I was thinking about what you said about running into walls, knowing that you're struggling, but not necessarily having the space to share it. And I think, if I'm being really transparent, I think recently I said yes to a performance that involved traveling. And I think I had a lot on my plate. I was balancing a multiple different tasks. And between the rehearsal for this show and planning for this release and shooting this video and being in studio, I think I took on too much. And then it's kind of like 3/4 of the way through one of the journeys, I sputtered out, like I wasn't sleeping. I struggle with insomnia, and I kind of saw, by the end of it, I was spent.
You're done.
I'm done out.
Yep.
Yeah, it was finished. And but there's no way to say that to people, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, event organizers don't want to hear say, oh, she's sad, or oh, she's struggling with sleep, or oh, she's depressed, or oh, she's triggered, or oh, she's anxious right now.
Up and perform.
Exactly. So it's like I don't know if there's a space that exists for that without you sounding like entitled or like an idiot to people,
or weak,
exactly. Or weak, where you can just say, I'm triggered right now.
Yeah.
I'm not able to do this right now.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Fight through it.
Show up anyway. No, man, you go, all right, man.
Yeah. Create a space for yourself.
It's like when you're young and you get a cut, them say throw dirt on it. Yeah. You know, or spit in there. But anyway, Toti, you need to contribute to bring some sanity to
let me just start by saying that one of the things I really appreciated about sharing with Kennedy's over the years is just her honesty. She has never had a problem to just say it as it is, you know. And whatever progress we made, you know, was intimately hinged on that, you know. And it takes a certain kind of a person like Kennedy's to work through that honesty, to look at her own situation and get to a place where she is, you know, right now, where she then is imparting some of her experiences that she learned to others, you know. I want to start by saying that in my practice, most of the people who come to me, whether it be hypertension or what have you, I see on a very profound level that the issue is somewhat related to a lack of self-love. You know, and it's that lack of self-love that makes them not paying the attention that they need to sleep, not paying the attention that they need to eat appropriately, you know, just being too busy to take care of self and so on. And the more you start to love yourself, is the more you start to connect with the consequences of your actions. And the more you start to understand, why is it that I'm feeling down? Why is it that I have a headache? What have you? I'll say this, that one of the things that has helped to add to the confusion is that, and I am a product of a system too of people who have been trained. In that training, it's very structured. You know, you have a certain kind of symptom, so here is the protocol to deal with it and so on. I studied nutrition for many, many years in the Faculty of Medicine, and I remember when I was just going there, my anticipation is that I would be going into an institution where I would see stately people eating salads and lots of fruit and, you know, paying attention to exercise and so on. And without going into the details, I didn't find that, you know. I'll also say that having studied nutrition for so many years, most of what I actually teach has very little to do with what I studied. You know, it has more to do with the experiences that I've gained over the years through private research and learning from others and really listening to self, which is a very important part of it. So essentially, when we look at the research, we see that depression occurs when three chemicals in the brain, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, goes out of balance. But as we continue the research, we get to understand that, hey, there are foods which can create this imbalance.
Interesting.
You know, deficiency in selenium, a deficiency in zinc, you know, can lead to the imbalance. We see relationships between sunlight and depression. When you get that sunlight on your skin, then what it does, it leads to the increased production of a chemical in your brain called serotonin, which helps to reduce psychological stress. So one of the first things about avoiding depression is to be on the outside rather than just locked up in dark spaces. We see very carefully that, you know, when people don't forgive, when people don't culture loving emotions, and you then absorb all this negativity because of your ego, that can also lead you down a path of depression. Just that lack of forgiveness. I have seen lack of forgiveness lead to physical manifestations. We just, one more thing, a study by the University of Pennsylvania actually took a group of people and limited their sleep to only 5 hours per night, only 5 hours quality sleep. And within 2 weeks, those that were limited, and there's a control group who slept okay and never had these symptoms, within 2 weeks, they reported greater sadness, greater irritability, greater anger, greater anxiety, emotional instability, greater stress, and depression. You know, it's right there in the literature. So until we start to pay attention to all these areas that we are talking about as a group, the sleep, the sunlight, and so on, then depression remains as this mysterious little thing in a box that needs to be treated with just the common narrative that has been used, you know, psychologists and so on. And then we miss out on all the valuable information.
Without fully understanding the actual cause. Like you say, you go to the root of it and without just treat the symptoms. Right. All right, so there's so much more that we need to talk about, and every time you talk to Hootie, you dig up one next word about the ground. Oh my God, so pun intended. So we're gonna have to come back to talk a little bit more about that, but right now we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna have a performance from one of the finalists in the JARIA Reggae Month Emerging Talent. They had a competition on the Instagram page, and one of the finalists who's performing for us now is called Kennedy. So let's take a look at Kennedy's performance, and then we'll come back and we'll continue our conversation on staying fit in this rat race, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives. Clear?
Sound isn't on. Oh dear.
There's no sound. We're clear, right?
Hearing my name, yeah, I'm ready. I got something to prove. Ready to do anything I gotta do. So meet me on the west side. I'm really loving your style. I don't wanna have to explain it. Just gon' give me some of your sweet love. Baby, my want and I need it for real. Can you see just come give me some of your sweet love. Baby, I want it, I need it for real. Can you see it? Yeah. One stop, give me a minute. Pressure that I'm feeling, and I'm hoping that you're feeling it. Need your attention, pulling out all of my tricks. Promise that you'll never ever get another love like this. Whoa, whoa, feel the same. Do they ever catch you blushing when you're hearing my name? I'm ready, I got something to prove. Ready to do anything I gotta do. Meet me on the west side. I'm really loving your style. I don't wanna have to explain it. Just come give me some of your sweet love. Baby, I want it, I need it for real. Can you see it? Just meet me on the west. Listen on man, hey. I'm really loving your style. I don't wanna have to explain it. Just come give me some of your sweet love. Baby, I want it, I need it for real. Can you see it? I hope you're hearing what I'm telling you. I wanna tell you that my feelings true. Give me a chance, let me in your space. In your heart, me deserve her. Baby boy, you know I love your style. I wanna love you, wanna be you. Once you try, you're not think twice. Everything nice on the west side, yeah. Oh, whoa, whoa, oh. Really loving your style. I don't wanna have to explain it. Just come give me some of your sweet love. Baby, I want it, I need it for real. Can you see it? Just meet me Bundy. Really loving your style. I don't wanna have to explain it. Just come give me some of your sweet love. Baby, I want it, I need it for real. Can you see it? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Meet me on the west side.
All right, that was Kennedy, one of the finalists in the JARIA Reggae Emerging Talent Instagram page competition. Thank you, Kennedy. And all right, we're going to meet up on the west side. I don't know. Anybody else says so feel like them going up on the west side after that?
I'm from the west side, so I have to go back.
Yeah, I show off, so watch out, she just hype.
As you should.
And of course, we are inside of Reggae University as we celebrate Reggae Month. And it's brought to you by our kind sponsors, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Chase Fund, VM Group, Autosmart, Starlight Production, Footprints Cafe, and Creation Foods. And we have guests in studio with me. I have Savannah. And I have Tavia. And on Zoom, we have Tahuti and we have Ken Reese. All absolutely amazing at what they do and what they bring to the table and what they've been sharing with us so far. So if you were late in joining us, bad on you, but just in the event that like it's busy or something, I'm not going to make you feel too bad. We've been talking about staying fit in this rat race, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives. So a lot of what we've been focusing on so far is really about the mental and the spiritual wellness. I want to talk a little bit more about the physical wellness and to kind of direct that more towards creatives. You know, and how creatives fit in all of this. Okay, so I can see a creative handling the spiritual aspect of it, right, because there's something about connecting to self and people and earth and you know, and your higher self and whatnot in terms of spirituality for a creative and how we get our inspiration. But when it comes to the physical wellness, you know, and the mental wellness, mental health, I think sometimes, like you just said, Savannah, when it comes to the performing, if it is that you're just in a state, a mental state of whether it's depression, you know, or whatever we want to call it. Mental health is very tricky, so I don't like to play around with the terms too much if I don't understand them. But whether it's sadness or it's depression or it's clinical depression, whatever it is, when we as creatives get into that state, because there's no conversation about it, there's a lack of understanding as to how to deal with it. And then the folks who are on the other side of it, who don't necessarily understand what it means to be a creative, because to be a creative, don't easy, you know. Blacker Ellis and Ian Ellis, I remember we were making a joke some time ago, and they said to me, I think it's a Black or IT, I don't remember. One of them said to me, they're walking on the road and somebody just walk up to them and say, tell me one joke now. Because they're a comedian. So as far as they're concerned, you must always have something funny to say, so tell me a joke. So it don't matter if you're in a sad space, you're in a bad place, if your relationship just broke up, if you're having problem at home with your kids, if you're having problem making money, that our whole other topic where creatives now get paid for their work. So all of those things that you have to battle, you know, the people on the other side who don't really understand that, they expect you to always show up, you know, and deliver, right? So I want to talk a little bit, of course, God, I do that. I want us to talk a little bit more about the physical wellness as it relates to creatives. So I'm going to pick on my favorite student to start. Yes, your face. Based on the work that you do, Ken Reese, do you actually get to work with creatives? And if so, how do you share information about balancing or talk to them about the importance of physical wellness?
Well, first of all, let me throw myself on the bus and say I've dated quite a few creatives. I won't call any names.
Go on now.
My ex-husband is actually a bass player for a very, very, known group and thing. And, I watched that. I myself, I went to music school and dance school. A lot of people don't know that about me. I had this incredible voice, but my father said, you're not going to be broke, so you're going to go the route that I want you to go.
Your father never lie.
right now, I have 4 graduate degrees because of that, right? But that's a whole other story for another time, Sharonda. On a different note, though, I have worked with different creatives, and I seem to attract that type. Since I cut my locks, I think I attract less, when I had the waist-length locks, for those of you who know me for a long time. But I find that it's no different, to be honest with you, in terms of people are people. All of us go to the bathroom, we all eat. We are people. And let me tell you something. If you want to change your state very quickly, there are 2 things you can do. Outside of nutrition, we're going to table that, is to play the right type of music and get your body moving. Let me tell you something. The last year, and I'm a very petite person, by the way, but last year I gained 15 pounds. To my shock and awe, I don't know how it happened, but I gained 15 pounds. And one of the things that I had a personal trainer come into my house, by the way, right? But I realized that my body, I want to touch back on the sleep and how I use movement to shift that, right? So my body was just under a lot of stress. I took on this new job running a company. Like I mentioned at the top of the hour, I'm a VP in this company. We're doing something very different, clean medicine for the first time in the history of the world, right?
Nice.
And that has pharmaceutical properties in it. So I had to quickly figure out how am I going to change my state, right? And I want to tell you this. I said to myself, I can't go to the gym. I made all these rules. I cycle, and I made all these rules what I couldn't do. And just recently, something shifted, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to start getting back up at 5 o'clock to who to do, because we used to be on the UE Bowl sometimes, right? Running the track and doing all these things. And I changed literally in the space of 3 months. I watch not only my physical body changed, right? And if you want to see how I look, you can check out my Instagram. But we'll talk about that.
I can't manage you as Savannah. Not too
IP,
IP.
right?
Love it.
but I want to show the guns. It's kind of cold over here, but let me tell you this, guys. If you really, really want to, whether you're a creative, and I want to speak specifically to a creative because I understand the mindset of how you can go into this deep space. Sometimes, like Savannah mentioned about that darkness that comes over you, and you want to go into that deep dark space. But no matter how you feel, and I want you to listen to me like your life depended on this, facts over feelings. I have that. That's one of my famous hashtags. No matter how you feel, make the time to move your body. Start with even just walking. Start with 5 minutes, and then the next day you increase. It's about consistency, right? 3 months ago, there are certain things I couldn't lift. Today, what I can lift now is just bizarre, okay? And my trainer looks like he's a what do you call it? A bodybuilder, right? That I'm working with. And I realized that it really comes down to being disciplined, but changing your state. I promise you, if you just start to do that, I love to cycle, so I do like 20 miles on a weekend. That's my thing, right? I also do yoga. it's not transferable. And I want to jump on this point before I hand over back to you, Sharonda. A lot of times what I find with my clients or people that I work with, they think, okay, I do yoga, that's enough, or I run, that's enough. No, exercise is not transferable. So as you are getting older, you want to make sure that you are doing flexibility stuff. You also want to make sure you're doing endurance for the heart, the cardiovascular exercises, the one that makes the heart rate goes up to, you know, for the protection of the heart. And you also want to do weight bearing exercise to protect the bones. So especially for women as you're aging, right? It's not transferable. So I do all different types of exercises, and I'm addicted, by the way. I love it. Listen, if you take away, if there are only 2 things I can do the rest of my life, exercise and any green vegetable, I'm good. I can live by that.
So not sex. Never mind. Wrong show. Moving on.
No, wait. My husband was not like that. And one quick thing. So I recently, about a year and a half ago, I moved back from Germany, right? I was working for the United States Army because my husband also was in the Army. And I worked for the clinic, so I ran the wellness center. And I'm going to tell you this, those people, they are super fit, right? And that's part of where I picked up a different level of discipline. But I will tell you this, without the sleep, so, you know, I don't want to like say it's one thing. It's a myriad of different things on a continuum. The sleep, because you had people who were super fit, but then they weren't getting enough sleep. The body wasn't being reset. They're eating junk, so they look great. So it's really a integrative, you know, rounded process. It's not just one thing. I just want to drive that home because somebody might be listening and go, oh, I can run or I can do this. But it really comes down to you having that holistic mindset.
Yeah. Tahuti mentioned
Sorry,
it right
I went
before.
off. I get passionate about this.
No, man, you're good, man. Tahuti mentioned it before we went on the break when he said sleep and sun and food, you know, and there's a bunch of other elements that's necessary in order to actually achieve that wellness that we're seeking. So for sure, it's not just any one thing. I know for me, when I don't get 8 hours worth of sleep, I am not a nice person, just to put it mildly, right? And I know some people, somehow they function on a lot less, but I suppose if we really are going for that overall wellness, then it's important to understand that all of these elements are important. Tavia, what about you? How important has physical activity been to your wellness?
Critical. As I was listening to her, we were saying the same things in my head. Because for me, well, I wake up at 5 o'clock every day, 5 a.m. I try to jump out of that bed. And the first thing I do is exercise after I drink my water. I exercise. And for me, physical movement has a lot to do with your mental state. Because I find the more I exercise, my mind is different. It works differently. I'm writing my 2nd book now, a poetic novel. And I started with it before I got exercising every day. And I deleted that first script. And now I'm starting on something else, and it is hilarious. I'm like, you write this? Like, this is you? And I love it, because every day I make sure that there's movement. And what I find is, not just in the morning, in the daytime, something may be happening, and my mind is not right. I go and do some movement, some jumping jacks. So I find it doesn't have to be so deep for everybody. But what's important for me is routine. So I go to my bed around the same time. I wake up around the same time. I ensure I at least get in 10 or 15 minutes of exercise every day. So a routine keeps me going to make sure that my mind can stay right. I can be creative because I'm giving myself time to really go through that exercise. And just to put this pin in there as well, it's not just physical exercise, but mental. So I read a lot. I read a lot of books around the person I want to become. So if I find I'm procrastinating, I read about how not to procrastinate.
Right.
If I want to learn something, I read about that. So I find too, you know, doing a lot of research or even reading or listening, for some of us who don't like to read the paper, listening to audiobooks or podcasts, feeding your mind, exercising your mind is also very, very important.
There is a misconception, and I used to run track in school, so I used to be a gym buff, you know, and I even somehow ended up in that space where I thought, all right, so I have to go to the gym 4 days for the week, and I have to lift all this weight, and I have to in order to be fit and healthy and whatnot. And I realized it's not sustainable, particularly when you get to a certain age, a certain amounts of responsibilities. Yeah, I did mention I have 2 teenagers and a mother and all that good stuff. And so for a while, I was beating on myself because I thought, geez, my girl, do better than that. No man in a muscan, and you're used to, and you're and that too feeds into what causes depression. These are things I'm discovering about myself.
Because you're unrealistic.
Absolutely. And so I was reading something on that famous that famous app that we all live by, Instagram. And I was reading something, and it said the important thing really is to show up for yourself.
Yes.
And I think it was Ken Reese who said just now, even if it's 5 minutes, because at least you start there. So if you show up and you do 5 minutes today, do 5 minutes for the first week, and nothing wrong with that, you know. You understand me? It's the importance is showing up and getting that routine in. And then afterwards, all right, maybe you do 10 minutes, you know, like if you do Emancipation Park, you do 2 lap, your boss, and nothing, no feel bad. Go ahead.
It boosts your self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Because you've set a goal for yourself, and you say, okay, I've met it. Even if it's just, okay, today I'm going to do 5 minutes. I'm going to just do 10 jumping jacks and then go on the computer. You did it. Oh my God, you go, girl.
So
good
be
job.
realistic about what it is you can do, what it is you can accommodate in everything else that is happening in your life. And stop being so unrealistic that you beat up on yourself when you don't accomplish these ridiculous goals that you set. You know, Savannah, I sense that you wanted to jump in.
No, I was agreeing with you. Okay, so what my physical fitness has looked like is I've had a personal trainer where no matter where I was in the world, we'd log on, and we'd have our sessions, right? And then that became unsustainable just because the moving around, and then I don't necessarily get to do like a set sleep time and a set wake up time. It's just whenever I need to be awake, I'm awake, you know, different call times for different things. And so what I find myself doing now, and I really leaned into it at the beginning, just in the pandemic, is the meditation. And once I do the meditation, I can do the stretching afterwards. And then after the stretching afterwards, I usually find myself dancing to some music because I always have music around it.
That's exercise.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
Exactly. So those are the things that those are the things that I fall into naturally right now. I definitely want to make it more intensive because I do want the mobility training, and I don't want to go, you know, all on call up.
Right.
But for right now, that's what it looks like for me.
Okay. So Hootie, I know that you have clients that you deal with, and you've spoken a lot about, you know, the spirituality and the food that you put into your body. But how does physical activity, where does it sit in terms of yourself as an individual, and also how you advise your clients?
Well, first of all, what I advise has to be something that I would have had some kind of experience with, not just in terms of reading a book or, you know, seeing some study or what have you. I would have had to have undergone, you know, the process. So for example, before I started to supervise detoxification, which is a very important thing too, I had to do a detox for a period of time. Before I started to teach yoga stretches, I had to be studying yoga and teaching yoga for a period of time, because you have to really undergo the experience to be able to pass it on as a teacher to a client. But I just say, as far as exercise is concerned, that we are not designed to be sedentary creatures. And the mere fact that we have to create a word for movement, which is supposed to be such a part of our lives, is only an indication that we have shifted into a sedentary state. And now we have to find a way to get back out of it. No matter how you look at it, whether from the research perspective, whether from a common sense perspective, whether from listening to your body perspective, it is not sustainable to not exercise. You must exercise or it will catch up on you. So exercise, however, doesn't mean necessarily wearing a leotard and a headband and going into a gym, you know. It's just keeping the body moving, you know, and, you know, one has to get to a place where hopefully it's a joy to you,
Yeah.
not just simply work. And then on the other hand, Kennery said something which I think is so very critical, in that it's not so much about what you want to do, you know. It's about what you need to do. You know, the ancient term Heru refers to that divine quality in ancient African history, which has to do with choosing to do the divine thing rather than the other. And it's from Heru that the word hero arises. So you become a hero when you do the divine thing rather than just what you feel like. In fact, the lowest level of existence on the planet is when you just do what you feel like. You do this because you want to. You just feel like it. You don't do this because you just don't feel like it. What about what your body needs? So there is a spiritual element, you know, and this is where also the self-love comes into being, where we have to be able to understand that the management of the body in the beginning needs some discipline. And hopefully that discipline evolves to a place where it can become a joy. And so then you transform.
Right. So yes, again, it's about pushing yourself and then hoping that we develop a routine that we can settle into. In the event that you're just joining us, of course, this is Reggae University, and this is a part of the Reggae Month celebration. And today we're talking about staying fit in this rat race, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives. And we have some sponsors that have allowed us to make all of this possible. We have Creation Foods, Footprints Cafe, AutoSmart, Starlight Production, VM Group, Chase Fund, and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. And so far we've been having a spirited discussion about various aspects of wellness. And we have spoken about what wellness really means. You know, it's not just any one thing. It's not just the physical or the emotional. There's also the spiritual, you know, there's the psychological. There are all of those that's important in order for you to actually feel balanced. But we've been talking about, like, so for all of us here, we've all gone on a journey, you know, and we're still on journeys, you know. But in order to get to the place where we can be in this position where we're now giving advice, we had to transition. So what I would love for you guys to share with me is what that story is that put you in that position where you had to transition from where you were to where you are now. And how did you get there? Because sometimes it's easy to talk from the place already being there. But for the person who doesn't know how to get there, they're intimidated because it's like, but me sit down in my couch in my dark and me contented right there, so, you know, and then ray, and look how them are going and them. No. So we all were there and we had to get here. So please, I'd love to hear some of your stories about why you felt the need to and how you transitioned to where you are now.
Let me start.
Sure.
It wasn't an aha moment. It was an acknowledgement for me that joy and peace is my birthright. And I knew that that is something that I needed to accomplish, and I couldn't accomplish it by procrastinating, by saying I'm gonna write this book and don't write it, or saying I need to launch a foundation and don't do it, or I need to do certain projects and don't do it. Not accomplishing what I set out for myself was becoming very difficult to handle for me emotionally. And I believe a lot of us, we have those feelings and we just ride them through. We go on autopilot through the day with all of these feelings bogged down inside of us on our heads. But you don't have to. You can be light and free and airy. And I just chose that I don't want this anymore. I don't want to feel that guilt of not doing what I said I'm going to do. So I decided to change, and I did. I started reading books that would have been beneficial to me. Right now, I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of probably 8 books. I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly listening to things that I believe will be beneficial to me, and then I'm doing it.
Right.
So if I say, okay, Tavia, you're gonna launch a foundation, which I am, by the way, I do it.
Put it out there.
I pick up the phone and I call somebody and I say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Can you support me with it? I do it. And so what I find is we sit, we think about all these things that we want to do. We think about all the reasons why we can't. We think about all the feelings that we have that is preventing us from doing it. Just get up and do it.
Yeah.
It's a choice. We can choose to sit and be unwell, mentally, physically, emotionally, or we can choose to be well. When you're hungry, do you get up and make kale and pak choy and sweet potato or some chicken? Do you do that, or do you go to the drive-thru and just buy junk food every day? You have a choice.
Yeah.
You can choose to eat healthy. You can choose to exercise. You can choose to be around people, because that's also important. You can work on your mental health till you're tired, but if every day you're around people who are draining you and who are the opposite of who you want to be, then it's pointless.
Yeah.
So I just recognize you can choose. If you want to do it, just do it. Just choose to do it and get up every day and make that one step towards doing it.
I was about to add that because, again, we are where we are because, and I don't know that any of us is perfect. None of us are perfect, right?
No.
But we've somehow been able to make a transition to be able to have this conversation because we made a choice.
Yeah.
But the thing to remember as well is in making that choice and in somebody saying to you, just do it, just do it, just do it, the important thing is to one step at a time. Just a little piece at a time. You know, and again, don't try bite the whole cake one time. You will choke. And then you get demotivated and then you can't bother.
And a quick thing to that is if you cannot do it by yourself, find someone who can help you too.
There you go.
And ask them to help you. So that vulnerability to ask for help, to say, hey, I want to be this person or I want to do this thing, but I don't know how. I don't know where to start. Can you help me to do it?
Yeah.
If I could just jump in here and say that it's an individual thing, you know, the journey is an individual journey. And some people, they will want to buy the whole cake and they'll just jump straight into it and they're ready for full transformation. Other people, one step at a time. The key is really being honest with yourself. In my personal transformation, I got to a point where I used to smoke, I used to drink, socially. I used to eat meat. And I got to a point where I experienced a spiritual transformation, which made me see my body as a kind of a temple, which I needed to keep clean. So everything then came under question. The stuff that I'm putting in my body in the name of food, you know, what's happening to my lungs every time I pick up a cigarette, you know, so everything stopped instantly. And it happened effortlessly because everything was in place in terms of what was going on in my headspace. So the journey is personal. I think one of the most important things on the journey is to detox and to do some of these mind quieting things that were mentioned, like for example what Tavia said, the gardening, how that stillness brought her closer to herself. Yoga certainly helps to do that too, you know. But to get to a place where you start to listen to yourself and start to correlate the consequences of our actions. Okay, you have eaten a certain type of meal.
It make you feel a certain way.
Later on in the evening, do you have mucus in the morning? You know, you have exercise today. How do I feel the following day? You know, start to make those connections. And then, you know, with that journey of self-knowledge on the way, then it's just a matter of taking it one step at a time.
Yep. Right. I appreciate that. Savannah, Ken Reese, who wants to jump in?
Go ahead, Savannah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm that person. I'm the one who eats off the whole cake, and then I think, because I've always been incredibly ambitious. You know, I moved out when I was 16. I was like, I'm making a life for myself. I'm gonna pursue music. I'm gonna get this done, and I'm gonna travel the world, and I'm gonna be this. And this is, I had this like really huge image of who I wanted to be. I wanted to be better than, I wanted to be bigger than, and not necessarily other people, but just where I'm coming from. And that, you hit a wall doing that. You hit a wall, and it's me, when I hit the wall and I had my first season of like depression, you know, like 19 turning 20, that's when I was like, oh, oh, so you can't just keep this running like this. Oh, you
You actually need to sit down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
take a
can't,
moment.
exactly. You can't just have the tree job and then I go Jamnesia and then I try to studio. That's not something that you can do.
It's not sustainable.
Exactly. So that is, and being obsessed with evolution, right? For myself, I think I only saw it in one dimension first, where it's like, you know, social hierarchy and then obviously financial stability and all the rest of it. I think it just, I don't know if it was a eureka moment, but it was definitely, after that season, I was just like, okay, well, then you need to be gentle with yourself, you know? So right now, I talk to myself a lot. I pour into myself a lot because I don't find that other people know how to do that.
I don't.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even know how to pour into their own selves, much less to pour into you.
Exactly. So what, you know, I've just gone to the place where I'll say things to myself. No, it's okay. I love you. It's all right. You're frightened right now, but it's okay. Yeah. And sometimes that time, it takes a day to just sit down and talk to yourself, and then you're back to normal. So it's, I don't know if I've achieved balance, because I still find, because, you know, my goal is to run a record label, you know, and make sure that it's ethical, and be able to be a shelter for myself and to be that buffer, right? As a Black woman representing music in Jamaica and then also the Caribbean. It's a whole thing in my mind. But I still find that I burn out, but I think I'm just getting a little bit better at understanding the balance of that.
There's something that I do with me.
Yeah.
Because I was where you were when I was your age. I don't know how you are, but I'm sure you're probably about 20 years younger than me. Black don't crack me.
You go, girl.
And I know, like, whatever. And I remember just going and going and going. When I was at the University at the West Indies, at Karamat, doing a degree in broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
And I was doing a program in the morning and on CVM television, and I was on Fame FM in the evenings, and I was doing a play called Dirty Diana at night. So I would go from school to the radio station, to the television station, to going on stage, and I was just going and going and going. And it was like, listen, let me tell you something, I have ambition now, I'm going to get this now, I'm going to get that now, I'm going on, I'm going to have nobody where push me now, I'm going to come from the family with the money now, so I have to make this work. And I kept going and going and going. And I woke up one day and I realized that, yes, I've achieved, you know, because when you work hard, you will achieve, yes?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the line, I had to stop and say to myself, why all of this? Just take your time.
Yeah.
You know, life is literally going nowhere.
Nope.
And when you burn out when you're too young, when you get older, you have nothing left. And it is at that stage where you have all that experience that you can actually feed into some of these things that you want to achieve. You know, I mean, it's easier said than done, especially when you're young and you're ambitious. You just want to keep going. But I have learned that daily, sometimes I'll get up, and because what I do for a living is easy to me because I've been doing it for so long, right? And I find that I'll get up, I'll have something to do, and I procrastinate a bit. I will admit that freely.
We all do.
And there you go. Thank you for making me feel better. Right? And I will have something to do, but because I know that it is something that I can get done in an hour, I just leave it. Until maybe I have 3 hours leave, and then I do it, and I look it over, and I whatever. And then the mindset will come in sometime like, my girl, I so lazy, get up and do what you have to do now, man. And I stop, and I talk to me a lot too, you know? You darling, I do it a lot.
So important.
The other day, my son said to me, Mommy, something glitching in your brain. I said, why you said that? Because you're talking to yourself. I said, and I would say to me, it's okay, you know. Today can be a day that you relax. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you can take off a cape, right? Because Superwoman overrated. And just ease yourself a little bit. You see what I say? You know? And so I realized that for me, I need to talk to me and remind me that I can be still. It's okay to not do all the time over and over and over.
Nothingness.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that you're worthless. It don't mean that you're lazy. It means that you need balance.
Yes,
that's what it is.
I think we've learned that from like our mothers and grandmothers, right? Especially for those of us who grew up where it's the mother leading the household. Yeah. So you grow up and you see a mother kill out yourself to get everything done. So it's created this legacy of I'm not enough until, I'm not enough unless. It's kind of wicked. Because I feel like it might be unique. I think it's unique to Black women.
Yeah, that's a study that I'd be interested in. I want Ken Reese to come in because I know that we're running short on time when the argument's sweet at this hour. Please feel free to share before we wrap.
Wow, as I listen to everybody's transformation story, I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I say? What do I say? But my transformation was actually observation rather than it being necessarily to self. I grew up, my dad is a farmer, a businessman, but he has a farm, used to export a lot. So I grew up eating healthy foods. I'm a product of that, right? So it wasn't like I had to have this epiphany. But what happened is when I was working in corporate Jamaica and I had my nice big job and I was, doing all this technological stuff and moving and shaking, I had the opportunity to travel over 30 odd markets, where digital had footprint. I was a head of products, particular for a certain area. And every time I would travel, and this is me being judgmental, so let me just put that out there, but I would travel. And that's when, of course, my body was super perfect, by the way. I would see all of these colleagues who would come into the business, and in short order, they'd look like, swollen. They'd be getting all these different health issues, right? So that kind of started the journey of me assessing and saying, I don't think that's what I want to do with my life, And I'd already had my first degree in computer science, my first master's in technology. And then I started researching, like, no, I have to figure out this whole nutrition and health thing, because when everybody else was eating crap, I was always the one saying, if we went to the Strawberry Hill or where we have our product meetings, I was always, where are the fruits, where are the vegetables, and I was always the odd person out.
Yeah.
So I realized quickly that I love this work. I've given 10 years of my life here, not just to digital, but to cable and wireless, right? I was the only person in the Caribbean that did the work I did. So, I was sought after, right? And I just decided, I don't want to do this. So I literally started studying health coaching at a school called Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which I'm still an ambassador to this day. And that's how I got my foot wet into the whole health coaching space. And while I'm doing that, I think somewhere along the journey, I think a little bit before that, I would have met Tahuti. That seed would have been planted. I started studying. And then one day I went to them and I said, hey, I'm going to quit. And luckily for me, I got a nice little check, because I was valuable to the organization, and I was able to open my practice. And one of my first clients, if she's listening, Donna Duncan from GMMB was one of my first clients. I was nervous as heck because here I am, this little girl coaching this woman who is so powerful. And for some reason, I just started attracting those type of persons to my private practice. Digital called me back to start their first wellness program, and it just started to evolve. And then I think somewhere about that point, I went to New York to the school. I decided to just go and live in a hotel for 6 months, and in the middle of Manhattan, working for IIN free, right? I wasn't being paid, but thank God I was smart with my money when I was making it. And that became the evolution of Ken Reese. And amazing. I want to tell you that it's funny though, because I'm back in corporate. And if you look at older stories, if you should Google me under my old name, you'll see stories about me leaving corporate. And there was a slight bit of embarrassment to say, but what are you doing back here? But the difference with the transformation is that I am a lot older, right? That's Savannah. And by the way, I'm a huge fan. I love your music. Definitely going to connect with you because I know I can help you. And,
yes, please, I need it.
No, man, definitely. It's funny. I was listening to your music this morning in my car on the way to the gym.
Really?
Because when I want a vibe is always that little crew and things. So, but
aww.
That's another story for another time. Right. But I'll tell you this, guys, my transformation, I want to say there were several junctions to it. I think where I had the biggest epiphany though was when I remarried. I love my dear husband. And we moved to Germany, and that when living in Europe, guys, is such a different vibe. For those of you who have been, you know the vibe. It's so different from the rat race here in America and what Jamaica has become, right? I love my country, but we kind of take on a lot of the American ideology. It's such a slower pace. People actually put away their cell phones. People eat dinner, go out for bike rides in Belgium. There's nobody driving cars. Everybody's on their bikes, and that transformation for me happened where I recognized that I don't have to be what the world says I need to be. I just need to be what Ken Reese wants. So when everybody else was going after the money, all my friends, I was actually doing what people do in retirement, which was traveling and living. Don't ask me how I afforded it, but that's a whole other story.
That's another story, but the important
right, for another
thing,
time. I'm sure there'll be a part two, but I will say this, coming back to America, taking on this job, right, and working for this clean medicine company. It's called Genexa, by the way. We've gotten a lot of awards and doing all these great things.
Like she's
I
married.
had to, last year was my breaking point year where I had to like check myself, which is why I was telling you guys earlier that I had to get myself back into the gym because I realized I'd veered so far left from my integrative practices during that 1 year
Sorry,
period.
Kenrys. My sincerest apologies, only because you're on the clock. But we definitely will have to have a part 2 to this.
Part 2.
And of course, before we go, we're gonna close out with a performance. But before we go, I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time to be with us today and for sharing with myself, with each other, and with our audience. And I hope that for those of you who tuned in, you were able to walk away with something that is of some value to you. This is, of course, just one aspect of the Reggae Month celebration. This is Reggae University, and today we're talking about staying fit in this rat race, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness for creatives and beyond, adding that part. And, of course, I'm saying thanks to our sponsors, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, Chase Fund, VMBS Group, Auto Smart, Starlight Production, Footprints Cafe, Creative Foods. My name is Sharanda Farrell. I had the pleasure of guiding this conversation today and sharing some of my own experiences with you. We're going to close out with another of the finalists in JARIA, the Reggae IG Emerging Talent, and this performer is called Hicks. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Hey everyone, I'm Nix Taylor, and this is Whatever. Hey, never turn your eyes away from the bigger things of life, and always do what's right, and just follow your inner light, because the things of the world, the things that we don't deserve, they are cruel and it hurts inside, and it pains my heart to the truth of you. Everything is now what it seems with you. I'm holding my head straight and I'm listening to me, 'cause everything is now what it seems when it comes on to you. So I'm through. I'm opening my heart and letting go. I'm trusting in myself, go with the flow. Won't ever be broken, even unshaken. I'm ready for whatever, trust me, all it gets is better, better. I'm ready for whatever, 'cause all it gets is better, better. I know the world around you seems hard sometimes. I know that struggle even got you down last night, and it hurts inside. You were supposed to be by my side, my side. 'Cause everything is now what it seems. I'm holding my head straight now. Believe in listening a word now. Beg you please, in listening a word now. Beg you.
Reggae Month is February. February is Reggae Month. Come catch the rhythm virtually. We gone online totally on Reggae Month TV. Mega reggae concerts, interesting reggae documentaries, informative reggae symposia, and lots more. Online daily from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on PBCJ, Jam Vision, JCDC Facebook page, and several other cable and social media platforms. Details available on the Reggae Jamaica mobile app, Reggae Month TV. Tune in daily and be entertained and informed.
In the Reggae Studio with our reggae ambassadors as they reveal the other side of the reggae beat outside the spotlight.
I said to you, this is dedicated to you. Put on your favorite dancing shoe. Everybody come on, we do the boogaloo. Come on now singing this one up to you. Lord have mercy.
My name is Leroy Sibbles. Leroy Anthony Sibbles, to be exact, right? Former lead singer of the Eptones. Born in Trenchtown, left Kingston Senior School and went to start learning electrical welding was my first thing before music. While being there, I was always singing, you know, and humming other people's songs and stuff while I'm doing my thing. And you know, other members, you know, other workers would be always telling me, "You're so good, you know, why don't you? Why don't you?" You know? And I was just taking it for a joke too, until a group was formed back in Trenchtown, around in my corner, you know. And I got involved, and that's when I really started getting involved. And apart from that, I used to be singing, you know, on Sundays, me and my mom, you know, after cooking, eating and stuff, because I was the only male child back then. You know, my brothers came after and they were, you know, younger, you know, much, you know, smaller. So I was the one that would be able to relate with my, you know, mom. I'd be listening back then, you know, to foreign instrumental songs, right? And be putting words to it just like that, you know, and singing, and it would be freaking people out. And I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. I wasn't even conscious of, you know, doing this. It was just happening. You know, something inside there, you know, working out itself away, you know what I mean? So the group was formed, you know, it was like 3 guys and a girl, and I, you know, was attracted to that. I was very close to it, you know, tried to be a part of it. Eventually was a backup singer in there. You know, they wrote a couple of songs. We went to Duke Reed, that was Treasure Isle downtown, Bond Street, if I remember clearly, and sorry, we were told to come back again, you know, come in, and we auditioned, they said come back, but the group broke up before we even got to recording there.
Love. today. I know I won't forget. I wanna tell you how much I love you. I love you. Oh, I love you.
Because of that group, the first money I got throwing a partner kind of thing, I bought a acoustic guitar. Freaked my mom out like crazy. Cause she said, the first money you get, want the shoes, want the clothes, want the, yeah. You know what I mean? But I got a guitar because I felt that I was led subconsciously into all this, you know, and felt it and loved it. There was this urge, this emptiness for this, you know, this space to be filled with all this music. Now, I got myself my guitar, I bought from a guy, and boom, boom, and there was a dread called Huntley. Gave me my first spliff and my first guitar lessons, you know, and sent me out. I was on my way right now, and boom, the Heptones came in, group, so we're locking that in. They came one night, like about 2 weeks after we got together, and said, this guy called Kenlock Agency wants some, groups to record and stuff. I was so happy, boom. That inspired me so much, I wrote 2 songs the said night. My first 2 songs that I ever wrote was called Gunman Coming to Town, and another one called Schoolgirls. We went down to Kenlock, he heard them. We recorded. I was walking down King Street, this was more up-tempo thing, and the people something to meet, they were gunmen, gunmen coming to town. I said, coming to town, gunmen. You know, they took out their 44. And like people running out through the door, they saw the gun, It was, my first recording, young and, I think, but we did that. First time I heard that on the Radio Fusion, though. God damn it, out my house, right down the bush. Listen me! That was my biggest day in my life. The biggest day in my life when I heard that song. Stupid little song, But it was my greatest triumph. My first major. You couldn't believe how I felt, man. I ran myself out of breath. It's like the British are coming. Yeah, man. So those songs played for a little while, and they didn't do too well with Kenlock because I guess he was no big producer or whatever. He was out of the picture. But that gave us major motivation now. I was writing. I even stopped going to the trade thing that I used to do, my electrical welding stuff. And I stayed home when the other guys was still doing their hustling in the days. I stayed home and just write songs. I was totally, empowered with this thing. And I stayed home and write songs. And every night I would be introducing them to new songs. Now I was writer, arranger, and I just love this.
Girl, I loved you more than anything in this old world. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my baby, at times that I've passed you by, you could see the teardrops rolling down my eyes. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my baby, I wanted you to be a bride, and forever you would stay by my side. Why did you leave me to cry? Oh, my honey, oh, now I'm so all alone. I've got no one to call my very own. Why did you leave me to cry?
When I went to Studio One, I went around them big musicians and all them jazz players, and I seek for, you know, show me this one, and I go home and fight it with my finger until I learn it, and always been, you know, trying to improve my musical abilities on my guitar, you know, learning all the chords I could and stuff like that. And those are stuff that helped me to write better songs too. We got a rehearsal room. Well, I guess the rehearsal room came after we went to Studio One. Went to Studio One, we were auditioned by Ken Booth and the Gay Lads, right? And they seemed to like us. They said, come back in a week, and we started recording. Our first recording for Coxsone was A Change Has Got to Come. And we did make a change because that was, when we went there, it was like that upbeat ska, you know, thing was happening, and we brought the rocksteady thing in there too, you know? Because we came in with stuff like Ting-a-ling-a-ling, A Change Has Got to Come. All these songs were slower songs. You know, so it enabled the musicians. You know, because it's all about the singers. You know, yeah, because you bring your song, the guy have to play to what you have. You know, so we brought this new style, this slowing down the whole thing, the rocksteady thing. Our very first major hit was Fatty Fatty, right? Because a lot of songs we did before that were very good and rare, but when we did Fatty Fatty, then that's when the boom, the heptones were really made, you know? And then what happened was it played like about 3-4 times on the radio till someone figured that these lyrics are suggestive, so we won't play it out there no more. But at that time, there were like 1 million jukeboxes there was the time of jukeboxes. Every bar in Kingston had a jukebox. And every turn I make, it was Fatty Fatty playing on that. You know, can you imagine that feeling again, you know? You, a little kid from nowhere, just come up and hearing yourself everywhere you turn. It was almost maddening.
I need a fat girl tonight. I need a very, very fat girl. Fat girl tonight. I'm in the mood, girl. I'm in the mood. I need some food, I need some food. I'm feeling rude. I'm feeling rude. I say no. When you feel it, girl, you're gonna say it is so nice. I say no. When you feel it, girl, you're gonna say it is so nice. Girl, I know you want it. I say you want it tonight. And you're gonna get a lot of it. Get it tonight. Oh, get it galore, girl. Get it galore. You won't want no more. Want no more. And that's for sure. That's for sure. See, they know See the fatigue. See that. How you feel it? See that. How you like it? See that. How it nice you? So nice. Alright. So nice. I know you want it. I say want it tonight. And you're gonna get a lot of it. Get it tonight. Get it galore. Girl, I say get it galore. You won't want no more. How I say want no more. And that's for sure. Fatty, that's for sure. I say now, when you feel it, girl, you're gonna say this. So nice. I say now, when you feel it, girl, you're gonna say this. So nice. You feel it now. See the fatigue in that. How you like it? See that. I know you could have loved it. In that. I'm gonna give it. See that. How you love it now. In that. I know you love it. See that. Fatty. In that. Alright, girl. See that.
When you need my kid. Okay. Come in. Still living the and a mercy. Listen, when you hug me, girl, hold me strong. When you squeeze me, girl, squeeze me long. I love you. Never let me down, girl. You will wear my crown, girl. We will never part, so love me with all of your heart.
Yeah, the name grew, and we had on both radio stations. Now the other radio station came in after a while, right? Like in mid or late 70s. We had now JBC. Now what we did for the first time, we were the first people ever did that. Then Leroy, #1 on both stations, #2 on the said both stations. We've always been struggling, because we never saw eye to eye, And maybe I should have got 2 other different guys, because man, I don't know. It was never meant to be. I pushed this, I could have had 2 other. If I had 2 other people with 2 other persons with more, musical abilities, or more musical ambition. Not even just saying general ambition. But that's it. It's your ambition that makes you move or make you stagnate sometimes, It's always been a struggle. And then I was the one who strained because I have to be doing everything, And I just couldn't do that. I figured if you have a group together, then each one should be able to contribute as much as the next person. Equal contribution, and then it would be great. Then you have to have equal ability too, It was strenuous for me. One time I had to run. I feel like I was like losing all my mind. Most of the songs that the Heptones established was written by me. And but the real joy is to be on stage when it's really happening too. Because sometimes there can be little things. Everything else is right, but there's a plug that pull around the corner that stop the show. There can be any little thing that makes it unbalanced, Yeah, but when it's really totally right, you feel that energy you feel that God spirit, all around. And I've been there and felt so much of that, as I know that there is the power of the Almighty God is so strong in the earth. This is what keeps us, because the negative is there too, Sometimes it seems stronger, but it's not. If it was, then all this would be destroyed totally already.
They say everything can be replaced. They say every distance is of me.
somewhere so high above this wall. Yeah, I see the light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. They say every man needs protection. They say every man was born, yeah. But I swear I've seen my reflection somewhere so high above this wall. Yeah, I see the light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. At one more time, any day now, any day now, I shall be.
I'm an also old name right now in the reggae community in Canada because that's another historical event. I mean, the Canadian history of music too. While you know, here in our native Jamaican thing too, you know, I'm mentioned all over, which it should be too, because I've participated, you know, contributed. I got the major award of Canada, which is the Juno, which is, you know, similar to the American Grammy. It's Canadian Grammy, right? I've reached that stage. I have accomplished that much. I have established a lot of bands, musicians, show them how this thing I really play, you know? Come and go there and still I'm play some calypso reggae, you know? I'm producing myself right now, exactly right now. I came back and I got myself established because the name is known again. A lot of people have never even heard the name, you know? Knows it, knows the face. Face is being recognized again, and a lot of people think it's amazing what I did too, you know? But it's just that it's in me, it's me, right? And I keep telling people every interview I does, right? I tell people of this vision I always get as a child, from a kid, you know. Almost every time I go sleep. Not every time, but you understand what I'm saying? You know, I used to have this vision. In this vision, I rise to the height of like telephone pole, right? That height, not flying fast, just barely floating at that height, and crowd would gather and be pointing at me, and I could never figure that out until I came back to Jamaica. I said, God damn, it's my career, it's what I'm supposed to be, it's my destiny, it's me on stage. Can you imagine? People gather pointing. Isn't that marvelous? Isn't that amazing?
I like a thing move next door, me, I tell you, say the girl. I tell you, you're tough. Hear this. Baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Oh, baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Your bathroom window is next to mine, and I man get a prep sometime. And things that I see make me want you for me. Your bedroom window is next to mine, and I man catch a glimpse sometime. Even though I'm not your love, I'm tempted to come over. Baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Just the other evening, you freaked me out. You really know what modeling's all about. It must have been a game, beer as you dare. Overheated, I knocked on your wall. Hear me, baby, cause nature call, nature call, nature call. Baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Fight this temptation if you can, because she's your neighbor and you are not her man. Fight this temptation if you can. Then why she's so lovely like money in her hand? Gee, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Oh baby G, you shouldn't live next door to me. Things that you're making me see, I can't control this. Your bathroom window is next to mine, and I man get a prep sometime. And things that I see make me want you for me. Your bedroom window is next to mine, and I man catch a glimpse sometime.
When it comes to Studio One, you know, the most popular Studio One bass lines are mine. You know? Don't ask me why. But that's how the way it is, you know? And I guess it's a part of me being a singer plus a musician, you know, that brought these kind of lines. Because these are lines that really sing to you, you know? These are the most sought after rhythm tracks to re-record. All mine. Made me so proud. I'm so humbly proud. Yeah, but it's the truth, you know, because for over like about 30 years now, and there have been, since these songs been out, they've been re-recorded since then and still being done today, and they come like they're brand new, just the same line, fresh, hitting just the same. All it needs is new. What you call that? Just new lyrics, you know. I was going to think of a word like nurturing, you know, with like new lyrics. You know what I mean? That's what I really meant when I would be saying that. Yeah, man. But whenever something nice goes on there, it's gone. Any one of my stuff. I would say to the young people right now who intend to do music is get your business part, you know, well put together, get proper management and stuff like that before you know, get your contract. When it reaches to that stage, make sure your contracts are properly analyzed, you know, before you make that final decision and stuff like that, because these are where you get hurt, you know. You might be the biggest talent in the world, and if that part is not secure, you end up damaged. And it happens today too. I mean, it's been the thing of the past, but it's still a present thing, because most producers are in it for the money. And they see it as a game where you can go in there and control everything, if you can, you know? And if they can, they will. So get your act together. And all the best.
have the Reggae Jamaica mobile app on your phone? No? Well, you could be missing out on news, views, interviews, events, and so much more about the impact of reggae music across the globe. Information at your fingertips about Reggae Month and other exciting reggae events. That's the Reggae Jamaica mobile app, now available in the Apple or the Google Play Store. Get it now!
Everybody wanna feel.
So right about now, if you love reggae and dancehall music, just understand, say, we're still winning right now. Despite the show not really keep from a win, about from March last year or so. Hey, watch out now. But Reggae Month keeps so we're winning same way. I want to big up everybody forward on the scene here. Everybody who make this thing possible, virtual style. Wicked and wild. Man. Hey, watch out now. South Jamaican massive. Anyway, in early I watch right about now. All of us are reggae and dancehall music. Drop a trophy on the screen now. Give one of them medal up on the screen. Here we go now. Hey, Reggae Month. Go back and tell them. Say we're winning right now, you win. Oh yes, we're winning right now, but we forget the trophy because we're living right now. They tell them Reggae Month winning right now, yeah. Another knockout for them ring the next spell. I'm about to send the haters and cards to get well because them sick of it. See the 2021 and them sick of it. But that's the old gist of it. I hate you not the duty when winning and we have been so Reggae Month go. Say, we win it. I tell them dance all massive, say we win it. Hey Jamaica, yes we win it. Oh, hey Kuya, hey see ya now. Hey Reggae Month, massive them to know. Hey we winning, man. Yo Dr. J, wheel it. Tell us I never album launch. It's Reggae Month now.
Make we light it up now, man. Reggae Month 2021. You make me feel like Baby, when the bright light starts to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like you make me you make me feel yeah. Endless loving and I will say you know say you have the loving for me body when you hold me, and if you call me we come. Fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like you make me you make me feel. That's how you make me feel. That's how you make me feel. That's how you make me feel like. Big up on yourself now, man. I shouldn't see ya.
Reggae Month virtual launch 2021. We are here. Let's do this. Aye. Good thing them. The good thing them. Aye. The good thing them. Boy, the good thing. When you do road, me have to wear the good thing them. The good clothes and the good shoes them. The good chain and the good ring. And when we shopping at the mall and the good store, you see the car where we drive and the good car there. A chicken that does a good car there. Pretty face with the good shape. And we know. Hey, don't you pepper your lot and me say me well lot. Good. I tell singing at the street and know me say that. Good. Everything what we put on from Gucci to Louis Vuitton. Level that.
This. Oh, what a joy when me tune and up. Fizzy mommy and daddy and every youth a rock. These conscious lyrics where the youths are locked. Somebody tell me walk on. Even though we know the time stuff and the fight enough, remember life must go on. So we keep our vibes up and we load up and me light up. The steamer so we keep it heights up. Spreading the words of the righteous. Teach them the truth cause the lies enough. Get them to open their eyes. Now we arise. And then me lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. Tell them no give me no run around. Talk with your chest and make a sound. Cause right now man fit up for every round. Lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. Tell them no give we no run around. Talk with your chest and make a sound. Cause right now man fit up for. So like a baby bunny, feel. Show them how I tackle, feel. Representing the Prince of Peace. And you know we hailing from the East. So let me give you the ingredients. Have a clean heart and a little patience. After you have the melody with the right cadence. Make sure set it up and on the bass well blend. After you have the harmony like the high cheese them. Link wellness for the high cheese then. Make sure set the rhythm of the right sequence. And everybody on the right frequency. We know the time stuff and the fight enough. Remember life must go on so we keep our vibes up. And we load up and me light up. The steamer so we keep our eyes up. Spreading the words of the righteous. Teach them the truth cause the lies enough. Get them to open their eyes. Now we arise. And then me lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. Tell them no give me no run around. Talk with your chest and make a sound. Cause right now man fit up for every round. Lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. Tell them no give we no run around. Talk with your chest and make a sound. Although the youth say a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them with the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it. See, I go put it in the music. Blissful melodies come from heaven, so His praise are given to the King that given it. And I know many go refuse it. Still I go put it in the music. Before they teach the youths about the ABCs, they teach about the Uzis and the M16s. They mess up the psyche of the young babies who grow up with no respect for the young ladies. So sad, the place get corrupt. My voice had to raise and I can't stay quiet. And like grass to pray, whole place will erupt. Every positive youth, let me blaze a fire. Although the youth say a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them with the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, Lord. But I go put it in the music. Blissful melodies come from heaven, so His praise are given to the King that given it. And I know many go refuse it. Still I go put it in the music. If we don't need no forward, them boy coward. Do it for the likes, for the standards lowered. Following the hype, them abuse them powers. Who go teach the youths them morals? All of them wanna just fly out overseas, jump up on a plane just to mash up on a stage. They just want fame, everybody know the name. I don't fret if the radio to play my song again. I go play if the youth see a lot of them refuse it. I go put it in the music. Them when they gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, Lord. But I go put it in the music, Lord. Blissful melodies come from heaven. Its praise are given to the King that given it. And I know many go refuse it. Still I go put it in the music, oh Lord. Listen to the saga, exactly 8-6 correct, me lose my mother. Time flies so fast, look now I am a father. Say I'm always on the grind, never lose focus, everything takes time. Just believe in yourself, never give up. Jah will give you the strength even when times rough and you need that bread. Almighty, tell her watch over your head. Through struggles and bad times, give praises to Jah. Happy times are sad times, give praises to Jah. Whether it's fasting or lunchtime, give praises to Jah, the King of Kings, Sayonara. Javan G, no Portland, me repping industry, call music, long time me stepping. Everything a laptop, everything a drama. Anywhere we touch them, I do a disaster. I'm down a little step, with the hype about. Even as the righteousness, please, from yourself, move from yourself. Please let go, tell them big Javan G, no settle. Through struggles and bad times, give praises to Jah. Happy times are sad times, give praises to Jah. Whether it's fasting or lunchtime, give praises to Jah, the King of Kings, Sayonara. Grievous words turn anger, soft words turn wrath away. Say be good to your friends and neighbors. night and day. It takes two to make a quarrel, it takes two to make a fight. But one thing I am sure of, it takes you to save your own life. Through struggles and bad times, give praises to Georgia. Happy times are sad times, give praises to Georgia. Whether it's fasting or lunchtime, give praises to Georgia. The King of Kings, Sayonara.
Javan, Genius, Portland, me reppin' industry, call music, long time me steppin'. Everything a lot of, everything a drama. Anywhere we touch them and do an disaster. Calm down your little self, where the hype go. If you not the righteousness, please, from yourself, from yourself. Please let go, tell them big Japan, Genius, sister. Through struggles and bad times, give praises to Georgia. Happy times are sad times, give praises to Georgia. Whether it's fasting or lunchtime, give praises to Georgia. The King of Kings, Sayonara. Give praises to Georgia. Give praises to Georgia. Give praises to Georgia. The King of Kings, Sayonara.
Now we introduce DJ Dorenzo out of Trinidad.
DJ Dorenzo.
I wanna buy you a road, girl, so you can put on a show, girl. You know the code, girl. I need you to know I have a best thing right in the face. You have a best thing right in your waist. Come, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam to the bed. I wanna make love to this song that's so good. I wanna make love to this song that's so good. I wanna drive you crazy. Girl, you drive me crazy. Anytime you need me, now, girl, if you need to feel me, I ride it behind you. Every little step that you take, every move that you make, girl, I ride it behind you, yeah. And my heart goes where you put them goes. And God knows I wanna make some love, 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 love. Hold you real tight and make some love, 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 love. Hold you real tight. I have a best thing right in my face. You have a best thing right in your waist. Come, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam, let me jam to the base. I wanna make love to this song that's so bad. I wanna make love to this song that's so bad. I wanna drive you crazy. Girl, you drive me crazy. Girl, why?
Man, I born in a poverty, but them thing I don't like. Every ghetto youth at the Benz park outside. A pretty girl passing me drink with two black eyes. You can't see life nice, so nice, yeah. But they talking all your business out the road and they walking. But can't
DJ Dorenzo.
so them barking. And can't put one bite on you. So we don't study them. Because Jackie we ain't can strength. So what we do? Mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up that. Cause we do bad mind people. Trying we vehicle and then protect we back. So what we do? Mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up, mash up that. Cause we do bad mind people. Trying we vehicle and then protect we back. So we
bad man like to party too. Play more so coffee them. Uptown big so party too. Play more so coffee them. If you feel like you can't get through, rum and so coffee them. All who vex and who hate you, play more so coffee them. And away we go. Time to kick off the greatest show. Say anywhere we go. Girl, there's wine funny thing like whoa. Could be rain or snow. That could never stop what we do. DJ pull it up again for me and my friends. We going down till the end. We going rally. Jack over them calling way. We going rally. 24 hours in one day. We going rally. Jack over you spend. This small Susu hand where you get. She marking every cent. You see, I trust too much girl in life. You see, I make too much of a choice. You see, I try to do what is right. Never me again. I'm jamming them guys for spite. I hand in first. All them girl is the worst. I hand in first.
DJ Dorenzo.
Can't take it in reverse. I hand in first. All them girl is the worst. I hand in first. Can't take it in reverse. I hand in like ba 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 ba
Toxic, yeah, full of toxic love. 'Cause when I say we done, you say we done, then we back together. If that makes us toxic, yeah, we don't give up. 'Cause baby, at least we know it's real.
everybody has a time and everybody has a choice.
Maybe I choose you.
'Cause you're crazy, match my crazy. You're my Beyonce and I'm your Jay-Z.
Even when I'm so mad at you. 1 minute I can't stand you. Next minute that is bad. I block you just to unblock you. And ask you how was your day like normal. And don't even talk about between the sheets. So sweet I can't leave. Maybe that is why they say we toxic. Yeah, full of toxic love. 'Cause when I say we done, you say we done, then we back together. If that makes us toxic, we don't give up. 'Cause baby, at least we know it's real. Can't right now, but better days are coming, coming. Change your ways. Don't let this moment pass you by and remain the same. Better days are coming, coming. Change your ways. Don't let this moment pass you by and remain
DJ
the
Dorenzo.
same. Hey, what we gonna do now? There's no panorama. Hey, we can jump up and play bass in the savannah. Hey, just be patient, hold it straight. Enjoy life and don't complain. You got to pray like every day. And it's gonna be irate. Better days are coming, coming. Change your ways. Don't let this moment pass you by and remain the same. Better days are coming, coming. Change your ways. Don't let this moment pass you by and remain the same.
Your nights I will never ever share. I'm a happiness everywhere I go. I'm a happiness never ever share. I'm a happiness everywhere I go. I'm a happiness. So when you see me rocking with my friends, it's just a love, it's just a vibes on the ends. And when you see me rocking by myself, tell them it's no false pretense, so me tell them. And when you see the liquor in me head, me live me life like it's no problem. And anybody who fight with me, tell them you only a love for them. That's why I will never ever change. I'm a happiness everywhere I go. I'm a happiness never ever change. I'm a happiness everywhere I go. I'm a happiness. Come take a look at jam on the inside there. We got vibes.
DJ Dorenzo.
She and girls on the inside there. Whoa, yo. Come take a look at jam on the inside there. We got vibes. We got enough energy and girls on the inside there. Whoa, yo. Yeah. Party nice. Hey. The old party got fire, yes. When the crew link up, it's us in a bundle. Yeah. It's we who bring the vibe. So come take a look at jam on the inside there. We got vibes, we got enough energy and girls on the inside there. Whoa, yo. Come take a look at jam on the inside there. We got vibes, we got enough energy and girls on the inside there. Whoa, yo. Right here in the back, yeah.
DJ Dorenzo.
We go ting-a-licky, ting-a-licky, ting-a-licky. The drum rise and the beat in high and right here in the back, yeah. Jam. Go straight in the kitchen, grab a pot and then start beating. You hear me? Backyard must have an announcer, someone who will give the order to give you house rules and safety tips. So when you wind down low,
cause I'm so tempted. What you telling yourself, what you telling yourself? Go low, girl, girl, I'm in a different mood when I'm drinking something. I get in a whining mood when I'm sipping on something. Every girl, 10 out of 10, 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 10 out of 10. Why not back it up again?
Touch them, it go be mass, mass, mass. First that we touch them, it go be mass, mass, mass. Me and my friend them hugging up. Throw some powder, let me fuck it up. Old school, bring a rag and turn it up. Bring a bottle and a glass, let me knock it up. Right now we chillin', right now we cool, and we discipline like we in school. Right now we just holding it down. They tell we sit down, so we sit down. But hold on, you see that first sweat? You see that first sweat? You see that first sweat? Hey, and I don't mean to excite the thing, but I know this June going night the thing. Say what they want, can't fight the thing, and we still behaving, we still behaving. But hold on, you see that first sweat? You see that first sweat? You see that first sweat? The first that we touch them, it could be mass, mass, mass. First that we touch them, it could be mass, mass, mass. Me and my friend them hugging up. Throw some powder, let me fuck it up. Old school, bring a rag and turn it up. Bring a bottle and a glass, let me knock it up. The first that we touch them, it
We win for days, we betting for days. DJ Lorenzo.
For days and days and days. For days and days.
We going for days, we betting for days. We going for
days and days and days. For days and days and days.
Ladies, come right into the venue. It be bam bam, rolling, roll on steps. Look at the body menu. Five them champagne, flowing, flowing. Hi, 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 hi. Look at we higher than play. When the party done, we not satisfied.
DJ Lorenzo.
We just play, but we never play a hating. On the road we celebrating. Everybody congregate.
Our next set of artists we have ready just for you. First, we start with Justice from St. Lucia, Jafrika from the island of Jamaica, and Amy from Outer Trinidad.
Just us. Girl, you are the old Mario. You the seed to my cherry. Anywhere you go, I go follow you. Girl, believe me, baby. Girl, you are the old Mario. You the seed to my cherry. Anywhere you go, I go follow you. Girl, can't jump over the moon, I go jump. That I go do for you. Distance no matter if I got to walk to you. Cause I will do it too. Cause you have me in my feelings, my feelings. You got my heart like da-da, na-da-da-da-da, na-da-dee-da. You the seed to my cherry. Anywhere you go, I go follow you. Girl, believe me, baby. Girl, you are the old Mario. You the seed to my cherry. Anywhere you go, I go follow you. Girl, watch. Make I take a pause, I take a break. Your body soft cheesecake. Girl, you sweet too fake. How much more can you take? When you sweet, make me go down on my knees. One try a mistake, make you believe. You me I end up with. You me I end up with. Na da 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 da, na da da, na da da. Mario to my Oreo. Just us.
Ash, Jaffe, oh, Kulu Kule. This is Jaffican, the Jamaican African Mamba representing for Caribbean Music Festival. You all ready for party? Party time, let's go. Ash, Jaffe. Oh, Jaja, please guide over we you. Jaja, please take us home. Oh, Ash. Jerusalem, Ikayalami, Ngilongolose, Uhambenami, Zulangishilana, Jerusalem, please take me back home. Guide over me, Jan. Jaja, walk with me. I do not leave my trust in haters. They can't over me. I no want see no highlight. Move over me. Just protect me with the covenant. Gilongolo say I do not leave my trust in haters. No mess around your wicked, you know. You be see that nana disaster te kuno. But you are straight cause your own friend me set you up. And the rainfall I go. Hate no get pick better if you no leave it. And if your energy no right, how we feel it. That's why when me step out and me get me beg Jackie, me safety me reach home my evening. And them again no. I don't wanna hear no negative talk no more. All when they pay up their mandillarants. All when they drink in the blood of a goat. Jaja protect me, my thing ain't no joke. You already know how the thing go from approach. And on the fire go burn them to roast. After I do not need them support. Gilongolo say. Gilongolose, Gilongolose, Atuna Ichilana. More, no, oh, more, oh, Jaja, please guide us home. Oh, yeah, as I say, I go by the name of Jaffican, the Jamaican African. Follow me everywhere, JAHFRICAN, Jaffican Music across all handles. And I want to say big up the Therapeutic family, big up to the JARIA family, big up to the CDB family. Some old friends, and they always stick together throughout everything, all ups and downs. Ready, let's go. Jaffe, old friends. You see, sometimes that friend from road is the one first to tell you the truth. You bail me out more than a dozen times. I help you solve your puzzles, my friend. You may not be blood brother, your sister not my cousin. You're more family to me than brethren. JARIA family, what a friend in you I have. Oh, what a friend in you, I have old friends. Yeah, if I don't see your weak sides, you're in my heart and you're in my prayers, old friend. Na 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 na, my best friend. Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na, my old friends. Headline, if you fight, I'll fight. You don't even have to be right. When it's over, we'll all decide. But I'll be surely there by your side, old friends. Me have to say you're great. Now if it be your birthday, if we celebrate. Happy for every level when you elevate. Me make a mistake, you tell me straight, oh. Oh, what a friend in you I have. I think you should know my old friend. Forever my real G. And if I don't see you weak sides, you're in my heart and you're in my prayers, my old friend. Na 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 na, CDB. Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. That part is serious, so let me take off my glasses. Any day you need my help, for sure I will be there for you. Could be more than 1,000,000 miles away. I will run to you. I trust you with my life all the while. You won't stab me in the back with a knife. You were never like that, not that type. We may disagree, never will fight. No shame. Oh my friend, what a friend. Oh what a friend. Oh my old friend. Forever my real G.
And if I don't even see you for years, so I want you to know that you're in my prayers for your old friend. Na 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 na, my best friend. Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 na, my old friends. Yo, don't forget to the friend them nowhere. Stick to your friend them. Stick to the one that are close to you. And at them time we need brethren and brethren to stick close. You see me I say? Oh, me now wait till you're gone. To tell you me rate you. Oh no, my friend, I got to tell you that now. I've got to tell you that you have to know. Jaffy, tell you from me heart, me rate you. If thanks.
They don't know, no. Amy and Shaka Pro, yeah. They don't know, no. Enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try. They don't know my story, they don't know my book. They only judge me by the way my cover looks. Take a look within and then you might be shook. You might realize I'm not who you think I am. Every day I try to emulate the great I am. It's only right to try to live like the son of man. Even if my name is gonna get body slam, all of this is gonna be worth it in the end. Enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try.
So why somebody tell me why? They don't know my life but they criticize. They stand from the outside and watch with them eyes and wait for the moment when me fall and me demise. They only like to see when the trouble rise, but when my light a shine it a burn them eyes like sunrise, cause their eyes are prone to the night. But that is gonna stop right here tonight.
Enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try. So when somebody tell me when these people are gonna stop criticizing men, when I'm gonna stop the prowling like lion in a den. Anytime me fall short up on me defeat them, them a go run and tell Mary Joseph, Jack and Jill. So them short come in inventory of me, them a bill. And everything that me make, all of them run and spill. God now want me vex so better me chill. Why? Enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try criticize. We enough people they know about we life, yet them still a try.
And now we're mixing things in on the wheels of steel. We have a wizard, DJ Wizard from out of Jamaica.
Thank you, Jody and Gray, for the introduction. This is yours truly, DJ Wizard, and we're inside the virtual concert right about now. All courtesy, Carib Tix. Shout out to all my folks online right now. Shout out to all the DJs
Baby, when the bright lights start to fade,
As we move,
you lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel light. You make me feel light. You make me feel.
When you want to, girl, a mission sing up. Like you want my emphasis spin run like a jam can't tire. Endless loving and it can't expire. I will say that I never answer prayer.
You know, say, you have the loving for me body when you hold me. And if you call me, we come. Baby, me now let her go. Love is like a seed and you reap what you sow.
Where will we go? When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road. Oh, maybe gonna start, pull up in a fast car, yeah. I know fast start, make you want the fast part, yeah. I know you're feeling me. You know I'm feeling you. So what now we feel look, yeah. Hey, fancy, oh your heart state, now no vacancy. Last time see up on FaceTime, chatting up the place, bout in our relationship. Me, I go put you on lockdown. I put your body on lockdown. You got me on lock now. Got my person on lock.
Early morning love, she get it good from she rise. But put it on so good and make she shake all she ties. Smile upon her face, me know she pleased with this eyes. Come in around to me, them gyal a roll out them eyes. Go down there, wine and go down there. Go down there, wine and go down there. Go down there, wine and go down there. Go down there.
Wine for your good makes you touch drip off of me body, yeah. Oh, you're full of chat and you can keep up with me energy. What a epic night of it, embedded in your memory. Little bubble up and treat it like a felony.
What you gonna do when there is nobody that do it better than this reggae guy? I can do this every morning, every evening. I just screaming straight back to sunrise.
Call me, yeah, the little man not good. Better you somebody else. Call me, yeah. Can I say the boy need it? Like can I say you too good feel? Better you somebody else. Call me, yeah. She want a real gangale. She want a real gangale. Call me, yeah. Call me, yeah. She want a real gangale. She want a real gangale. Call me, yeah. Call me, yeah. Me just want you get in your element. Below it, and me be the president. Since yeah, come show me the evidence. Cause if I in a fashion, always trending. Love a girl with passion, outstanding.
Bad man out and stunting. Kyle them thick like dumpling. Girl with big hip jumping. Action, ready for the thumping. Ready for the thumping. Ready for the thumping.
Bad girl step out, I'm stunting. Queen, my ties them thick like pumpkin. Look pon me, big with a pumpkin. My money thick like a caramel dumpling. Remix style of the vocal range. Black and beautiful, so me not play. Me no pray, me no chat, me no eye gal. Me money make a gal act suicidal. Gal fake like me weave them. Oh Lord, gal say she bad, me no believe them. Rich, watch how me a beat them. Chanel, Fendi, me Louis beat them. But there's female out there, tell them pick confront. Location a change, and the money me a on. First class up front, it a lip a gal a grunt. Me bank account fatter than my fun.
We out and bad. Stunting. Them gala so sweet like pumpkin. True with Kyle them thick like dumpling. Kyle them thick like dumpling. Out and bad.
DJ Wizard playing the best of today and yesterday.
Brick, brick pam brick, brick pam brick pam brick, brick pam brick, brick pam brick pam brick. When me I use me chopper phone, no chatting a lot, no ramp with me mother food, Spanish town, foreign account, bang a phone, couple other phone. The thing can't too loud, put on my clocks boot fast and move out. On a school bus, the young I move like when you. Yeah, my gun, which part of the union? Look more at the studio. I play to my gun for the moon gun. The most say the east climb if it's true enough. I represent the east side. Fury, 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 fury.
girl in me bed, give me. With a dozen magnum on me bed. I feel clean like pussy from your toe to your head. JARIA the new thing, everybody says smart head. When we walk past people, we call on about neck. No for them, they boy, they girl, we catching our neck. Girl with them, my wife up every day, I tell set. And I rub up on the foot like I shop on the window. Cool ravers, man shoulder for your flick. Yeah, that's bad too. Girl, your shoulder for your flick. Cool ravers, a far with. Ding ding dong, the new dancing king. And your shoulder for your flick. Girl, your shoulder for your flick. Watch your words to a speak and a talk with your bad mountain. Man shoulder for your friend. In a mid chain bling bling. Bad mind is a sin. Unity with your team. Dancers believe gooder than another. If you fight that, me picking out a feather. Don't bad mind my brother when him a go up the ladder. Money man up, he go get the cheddar. If you not like that, hold them there, hold them there, hold them there. Hold them there, fully bad, so hold them there. Hold them there, 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 hold them there. Shoulder for your friend. Tell a shoulder for your friend. Watch your world to a speak and a talk with your body. But how you do it?
Yeah, me clean. Everybody know this. Woman cause small man what this. But me know what this. Woman just watch this. I did brand new dance, me a teach it. If you a girl, just smile and show your dimple. Kitty them know all the thing go. Brand new dance, it's simple. Terry dirt, show them the thing now. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Everybody get your bunks, watch ya. Dirt. Dirt, dirt, everybody get your bungs, watch ya. Dirt, 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 everybody get your bungs, hey. Dirt, 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 everybody get your bungs, watch ya.
DJ Wizard playing the best of today and yesterday.
Anyway, me go, you know me fi do me thing. Whining at the dance, when I back me just a fling. Sexy when me wind up, have me to hip them a fling. Make me cool on the ice like a lick up ping wing. Bend me back and shake it up right there so me no care. Bump around a back so me flash and shake me ear. In a dance me no care, all me close me tear. We cool down and leave all on the ice like polar beer. Cool me down. Cool me down. Cool me down. I beg you cool me down. I beg you cool me down because me just a live like paradise. Come to me once, come see me twice. Your man love me, and me know it burn. Coolin' with pizza eyes.
Anywhere me go, the girl them love me. Like a 4-leaf glove on me luck, yeah. And if me tell you how much girl you woulda judge me, just know say the thing well up, yeah. Top class and me full of top sauce. Me cologne it a kick me no green like grass. And when me walk past, girl off the drop trust. And I meet them girl I end up. Oh me so clean, so saucy. You know my tees and my jeans so saucy. Every kick from my beat so saucy. Call me king in the streets, come saucy. Oh me so clean, so saucy. You know my tee and my jeans so saucy. Every kick from my beat so saucy. Call me king in the street, come saucy.
Bossy, bossy, Godfather, man a OG, man a half humble, man a bossy. Fling a rag a rhythm like it's all free. Bossy, house on the coast G. My money so long it doesn't know me. It's looking at my kids like I'm bossy.
Hey yo, Idris, tell them what they're gonna take the. When step out, do that turn up in a dish. Body comfortable, I'm physically fit. I'm a brown and sweet, just like the chocolate. Yo, Wiley, them all sound like me. Other than a pretty with the upcrow body. Shut down in the city with me bad girl. Every man want piece of me. The back of them a pop and them a bun. Man want wine behind me have to move kind dusty. I'm looking for a brother who got hella pound. 079, baby, I'm a hammer, did you stop?
Bossy, bossy, Godfather, man a OG, man a half humble, man a bossy. Fling a rag a rhythm like it's all free. Bossy, house on the coast G. My money so long it doesn't know me. It's looking at my kids like I'm bossy.
Hey yo, Sean.
Hey.
And we want to remind you, tonight would not be possible without our sponsors. We want to thank the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB. We also want to thank the Jamaican Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports as a part of their Reggae Month calendar. And we also want to thank Headline Entertainment and, of course, Changemakers. We promised you a musical showcase, and we are giving you just that. Right now, we welcome Ras Ajay from Jamaica and Wendy from out of Bahamas.
Yeah, man, watching this is our Ras Ajay represented from out of the Dot Rock. You know the thing go from them, see we don't know the standard we set, you see. So let's do this, music. Woo! Yeah, mad dog. After the boy can't see nobody out of the Dot Rock and come talk about them, man. Well, I the girl them, and them alone say we are. Girl them, and them alone say we are. Girl them, and them alone say we are. Girl them, Watch out, you know see the ras hot. Have about a dozen girl over Kit Kat. Baby, why you making up your face like that? Come on, girl, you know say me love you like that. Calm down yourself, my girl, make a chat. The ras hot. Tune them a play on radio non-stop. She a tell her friends, say a rasta try that. Say him on a show and him shelled up that. You know see the ras hot. Now watch you catch you see the bumper drop. You know how much goose I carry in a that. 13 of them want sit down in a me lap. Some of them a ball out, me no call back. Check the fox style, cool and relax. Standard no drop, my girl them a fear. Holy pa shape, and them no itch no for run the kitty. The ras hot, it's a pity that none for them girl and I go get me back. All because the summer where them have a little slack. Check my back, you know see the ras hot. I Converse me wear, you are my style lad. Me no wear Nike, I know my style lad. But every girl I see me and I say the ras hot. Hold on, they make me just check your WhatsApp. Jubiling me tell me say me have a hot track. And every station out the road I clap that. Selector tell me say me have a street lock. Electra you don't know I'm my girl that. The ras hot. Watching the man. So we talk about hot. You see it? It's about the fire we bring. And the standards we set. You see it? So when we talk, watching a man. So I go so then say, simple beats man I use and I do it. I feel have a new Converse to me feet. She see the style and I say the ras neat. And me still I get the girl where them sit down and I dream about. Simple beats man I use and I do it. I feel have a new Converse to me feet. She see the style and I say the ras neat. And me still I get the girl where them sit down and I dream about. In a real life, nobody feel like it. To be kid. I them alone I say we hot, girl them. I them alone I say we hot, girl them. Watch out, you know see the ras hot. Have about a dozen girl over Kit Kat. Baby, why you making up your face like that? Come on, girl, you know say we love you like that. Calm down yourself, my girl, make a chat. The ras hot. Tune them a play on radio non-stop. She a tell her friends, say a rasta try that. See him on a show and him shell love that. You know see the ras hot. Now watch you catch you see the bumper drop. You know how much goose I carry in a that. A 13 of them want sit down in a me lap. Some of them a ball out, me no call back. Check the fox style, cool and relax. Standard no drop, my girl ever fear. Holy pa shape. And them no itch now for they can take care. So watching a man. When them see with them know what we say. You see? So the dirty rock represents something, you see? Cause watch your then in a real life, nobody feel like it. Easy if you take it 3 points. Dirty rock already gonna what you feel like. I'm on a motion thugs in a real life. Cause in a real life, nobody feel like it. Easy if you take it 3 points. Dirty rock already gonna what you feel like. I'm on a motion thugs in a real life. Hey, anywhere we go, you know be tongue up. To Father God, we send the thanks up. We get a chance again, we wake up. What a blessing, me mother son never thought. Kind of the street enough nights, and me, I'm ready to protect my life. Yeah, me do unnecessary, no friend me, I'm God, but for me, Jen. So until me time me, cause in a real life, nobody feel like it. So even though we talk about being hot, you have to remember that we still have to maintain the order and maintain the standard. As a far as you don't know, Selassie is the Almighty, and anywhere we go, the King name have to be shouted, is it? His praises have to be given. So on the hill, in the valley, and anywhere we go, Selassie is King. You hear that? Woo! Let's go. Bam them music. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, hey, 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 hey. Watch the man. See from what the no man no member the king. Be right them running down and be flossing. I talk about the most savage killings. But I and I, oh, everywhere I go, I want the world to know. Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me bring. And everywhere I go, I want the world to know. Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me bring. So when I rise up in the morning, yes, I got to hail my king. He blessed me with life, yes, and blessed my offspring. So for me to say thanks is but a little offering, cause even days when it not enough, me say you'll land a due to him. Not only in your struggles when you should remember him, you should remember Jah because he's worthy and the king. All the angels in the Zion side, the king and of his sick. Haile King Selassie is the king of all kings everywhere. king of all kings, and his praises me sing, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me sing. 72 nations bow down before him. League of Nations see a people thought the king he would be drowning. Look how much time Babylon try to clone him. The king him never get weary when the enemies surround him. Ain't no matter what I go on, stay calm in this storm. Heights up in yourself, use faith and carry on. Remember Babylon is not your friend, none at all. So fight on, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me bring, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me sing, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me sing, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me sing. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know that Haile Selassie is the king of all kings, and his praises me sing, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know that Haile Selassie is the king, whoa, and his praises me bring. Whoa, whoa, cause everywhere I go, I want the world to know that Haile Selassie is the king, whoa, and his praises. Yes he is, 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 yes he is. Whoa, oh.
You don't need no validation. You don't need no affirmation from nobody. No, no, self, no. Work your body. Confidence and sex appeal. Every now I get to feel the way you bounce up, stick it and break the bumper right there. And some more. Let them know. My work is gone. And of course they need me. Cause every time I turn my beat, when you come out on your mission. Don't worry, no, no, sir. I work their body. Work it, yeah. You know that you're gorgeous. Kill him with performance. Bounce on sick work. Right there. Let them know. Yeah, my work is gone. And of course, they need me. Cause every time I turn my beat, my work is gone.
We are taking you around the islands, and now we are in VI. We're giving you Stanman and DJ So-So out of the Virgin Islands.
All of the, y'all, them bend down. them bend down. Bend down. Bend down.
More than
all of the girl them bend down.
Large Radio.
Bend down. All of the girl them bend down. Bend down. All of the girl them bend. Lose the rhythm.
Yeah, man, thank you, Jodian. Thank you, Jodian, for the intro. Right now, welcome to Virtuality. Welcome to Virtuality. Brought to you by Therapeutic. We're live at Valencia, Margate, Fort Lauderdale. We're live. This is Stanman representing Large Radio. All my small island crew worldwide. Representing my Eastern Caribbean to the bone.
Everybody want come hold her. Whining queen of the soca. Lord, she want me now. Check her now. Whining up that body, want me now. Check her now. Bouncing up that body, want me now. Check her now. Whining up that body, want me now. Check her now. Bouncing up that bam bam. Head, shoulder, knees. On the over, let her breathe. She ain't nothing easy, so get ready for the tea.
Radio.
This one for the girl to bend over. 6:30, send back bumper. Come right, come back, you the owner. No chain, hold tight, hold up. The thing far, pick it up, take your time, girl. Lick it up, wine slow, girl. Pick it up, press the back, let go back, cut it up.
Large Radio.
Every girl just ring off the waist. Girl ring off the waist. Let me see a girl ring off the waist. Girl ring off the waist. Take 10 girl ring off the waist.
Large Radio.
The stand man.
Where we going? Big jam. Where we going? Big jam. Pull up the parking lot ram. Line by the door on long. Where we going? Big jam. Who playing a big band? Fresh like no time to go in. Straight to the bar with the feet. Alright. Got it first round 10 shots. Where we going? Cool in the back. Look round, stuff out the scene. Alright now, find me a feed. Man straight up, I don't line up. She ready for the walk, for the wind up. Go off like a clock when the time up. Make up all of me one shot, man. What pop mother? False alarm, false alarm. The lights on off, lights on off. It's only now party start. Front to back, wall to wall. Fetting like you know tomorrow. Look it just by the whole bottle. Look it up, make me remodel. The whole club lit. The whole place lit. Your team lit. My team lit. She pressing me. How come you dancing with Stephanie? I could not tell her it's jealousy. Baby, it must be the Hennessy. Oh, you know what? I don't want water then. And she gonna bring all her friends. And I gonna bring all my friends. So we can walk all of them. Don't watch me, watch TV. My mother tell me see and don't see. Up blind,
Torah. The hit girls they walk till they back.
You see where I come from? This is the Standman representing large radio, small island, massive to the bone. In our islands, we love something called rhythm. We love something called rhythm alone, rhythm up style. We love bouillon, we love jab jab. So we go on a small island crew, no matter where you come from. You could come from the Virgin Islands, you could come from St. Martin, Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts. It don't matter where you come from. Once you love rhythm, you love us. Whoa!
Me no care about. Can't talk in my best. Say them one place I run them run round that. Man a talk shot back. Some boy only full of talk chat. Enough of them stairs up. Enough of them stairs up. Enough of them stairs up. Talk them a talk to back shot back. Enough of them stairs up. Enough of them stairs up. Enough of them stairs up. Chat them a chat. Me you play that come and hear that.
Radio. Everybody. You want the baddest, them can't tell you nothing, so give them your attitude. Go see, make them mix it, put them in a jacket, so you know you can back it up. Do what you want. Do what you want. Come off the edge, can't say it. Balance on it, don't make it. Drop. You got it. Walk it up. Put up your face, don't say it. Any man where you want, just bubble for them. Them say people, man.
One thing about Caribbean music, it's infectious. It's infectious. The rhythm, the beat, it touches your soul. The beat touches your soul. It don't matter if you're from Montserrat, you're from Nevis, you're from Angola, Bermuda, Turks and Caicos, Cayman Islands. Once you hear the beats, your waistline start to move, your waistline to gyrates. Oh! Big up on my Trinidad crew, Jamaica crew. It don't matter where you come from. Guadeloupe, Martinique, Aruba.
Large radio.
More than four.
Two things that's special about the Caribbean is our food and our women. Okay? Food and women. Yeah, man, again. Welcome to the Virtual Reality Jam, brought to you by Caribbean Ticks. Carib Ticks. I'm the stand man representing Large Radio. Big up all those that have been in tune, man. I hope all you having a good time. This is what we do, man. Caribbean culture. We defend it around the world. Small island massive.
What's your name? Since the time I'm watching you, I want to wine on you, my girl. Don't mind me, I'm okay. I'm not taking cocaine. Just send it up and drop it down. Send it up and drop it down. Now send it up and drop. There we go now. Flat down. Like I said. 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 Flat down. Like I said.
One thing in the Caribbean we love is Juve. Some people like parade with the feathers, but you see in the small islands, we love Juve, baby. When you hear rhythm, there's only one thing you gotta do. Bend over. Bend over.
Large Radio.
Again, thank you for all those tuning in, man. Big up by yourself. This is Stan, man, representing Large Radio. Big up all those that come through, man. Big up by yourself. Big up the Carib Ticks again. See how your Miami Carnival on the road.
Up next, we give you performances by Trisha from St. Lucia, Xenia from Jamaica, and Alethea from Trinidad.
Come here, baby. It's all about 20 toes and nobody knows as the rain falls and the feeling grows. It's pouring outside, yeah. It's all about you and me and getting cold
time. I like it, I love it, I like it like that. Let it rain, I love it, I like it, I love it like that. I like it, I love it, I like it like that. Let it rain, I love it, I like it, I love it like that. Touching me slowly and gently got me sensually tipsy, yeah. Touch by touch, yeah. Every notion, every emotion sets the world in slow motion. I want you so much.
Eyes that breathe my very soul. See the depth of stories untold. Your lips, a gentle reminder. No kind of words have been unfolded. How do you do it? I love the way you squeeze me. So warm when I am in your arms. Your aura fresh and breezy. Baby, I love the way. Baby, I love the way. You do it so easy. You make me happy. Baby, I love the way. Baby, I love the way. You do it so easy. You make me happy. Eloquent and perfect. Call me in my turbulence. Consistent and resilient. You mark my heart in permanence. I love the way you just know what to do. Magnificent, true. Can't replace you. Overdose on you. Give my toast to you. This is how I say that I love you. There's just something about you. So calm when you are in my storm, baby. Your love is so true. Baby, your love is so true. Baby, I love the way. Baby, I love the way. You do it so easy. You make me happy. Up on the hill, I stare into the sky. I think of days that have passed me by. I hold my breath and pray to the God of time. Don't let the good days pass me by. Oh, 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 hear my cry. How many times must I fall into darkness?
Of course, you know we got to mix things in and give you a little music in between. Right now, we bring to you from Jamaica, DJ Radcliffe.
Time. Let me hold you closer, friend. I wanna be with you, my girl. I wanna rock with you, lady. All night long. Come let me hold you, lady. 'Cause the feeling is strong. I wanna rock with you, lady. All night long. Rockin', rollin' and rollin' and rock. Give me sweet loving, don't you ever stop, love me. No, no, baby. No, no, baby. No, no, baby. Hey.
Put on your red dress.
You hear?
Slip on your high heels.
Y'all, you look good.
And some of that sweet perfume.
Oh my God.
It's your smell skin on you. Slide on your lipstick. Let all your hair down.
Oh my God.
'Cause baby, when you get through, I wanna show off for you.
Because I can't just watch you and I chat you. And she a chat, you know she can't stop you. I can't just watch you and I chat you. And she a chat, you know she can't stop you. Girl, hold up your hand, 'cause your man want you. Kick out your foot, 'cause she can't stop you. And she a chat, you know your man want you. And see your man him no stop cry for you. Hold up your hand, 'cause you know you look good. Jump around, 'cause your body look good. 'Cause a girl just a watch you and a chat you. And she a chat, you know she can't stop you.
Tonight will be a special night, no matter where we go. I'm so proud to be with you. I just wanna let you know, you gotta say my, 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 my.
Y'all, you look
You sure
good.
look good tonight, after all this time.
Because jump around, 'cause you no stop mad them, gal. Hold up your walk, 'cause you no stop mad them, gal. Show you look good, and that a mad them. Show you no wear gal clothes, and that a mad them. Show you no catch a gal yard, and that a mad them. Show you no scrape gal pot, and that a mad them, gal. Show your body good, and that a mad them, gal. Show you have your chain, and that a mad them. Show you have your bangle, and that a mad them. Show you no have a passion, and that a mad them. Show you have your house key, and that a mad them, gal. Jump around a gal a fret over you. And she a fret, you know she can't stop you. 'Cause a gal just a watch you and a chat you. And she a chat, you know she can't stop you. A gal just a watch you and a chat you. And she a chat, you know she can't stop you.
Four season lover, four season lover. Well, I'm your four season lover. So no, you never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away when the winter comes around and there's nobody there to keep you warm. Call me on your phone line and I will be there in no time. I'll be there to warm you up. I'll be there to warm you up. That's why I said no, you should never give your love away. 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 When springtime comes around and when the roses are bursting out of the ground, call me on your phone line and I will be there in no time. I'll be there to warm you up. I'll be there to warm you up. That's my little girl, and no, you should never give your love away. 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 When summertime comes around, when the humidity is so damn high, don't stay home and cry. Call me on your phone line, I'll be there to cool you off. I'll be there to cool you off. That's why I say, you know, you should never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away. No, you should never give your love away.
Why don't you take up a round and take
take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. Take up a ramen, take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. If I ready, fresh. Super cool and fresh. Take up a ramen, take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. From your super cool and real, you super fresh. Anyone will accept you as a special guest. No, he and she will do that at a special request. If you live in the country, you run go to the river. You live in the town, the stone and the clock and get off in your shower. The water AC you can be regular. A man no want a woman, she feel the water. A woman no want a man, she feel the water. You know, say take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. Take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. The London girls, they're super fresh. All Americans, they're super fresh. All Canadians, they're super fresh. Why don't you take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. Take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. From you super cool and real, you super fresh. Tell them how them a go hold them fresh. Put the rag against the soup and rub it come next. Pass it across your back and over your chest. Under your arm and over your neck. Put it in every creases where you know dirt will late. Take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. Take up a rag and take up a soup and go and go water. Fresh. Ever ready, fresh, super ready, fresh, pants off it, fresh, shirt off it, fresh, blouse off it, fresh, shoes off it, fresh, take up a fresh, take up a fresh, take up a fresh.
My whole life will be in the misery. Yes, if you leave me, my whole life will be in the misery. Because your love is my love, and my love is your love. Your friend is my friend, and my friend is your friend. So the more we are together, 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 the more we are together, the happier we shall be. Wake up, little Susie, wake up, oh yeah.
Baby, let's go.
Yes, ma'am.
Away from Don't be confused, no. The way is clean. And if you want it, you got it forever. This is not a one-night stand. Let the music blow your mind. Your mind and soul. Girl, just seeking you will find. You're gonna fly away. Let it be my way. I love is when we're cruising together. I am the greatest girl lover from Jamaica. Any girl me love, me say me love them proper. Chama, greatest girl lover from Jamaica. Any girl me love, me say me love them proper. Come on, give me lover, wow, me lover. Give me lover, me chang lover. Give me lover, wow, me lover. Give me lover, me chang lover. Rub me for me back and up over me shoulder. And say that the lizard, yeah, the A1 lover. And when it come to loving, me no love it just stop. Me brain just a chuckle like a computer. Me mouth just a move like a millimeter. Say me and Malcolm, we aspiring partner. Come, let the music blow your mind. Girl, just seeking you will find.
I'm not going to a circus, I'm not going to a fair. Even the stage somewhere the dance a jump around can will be there to give you some type of lyrics that girls want to hear. Girl picking in them boom up like a nuclear. Woman a wine on the bottom, woman a wine on the top. Woman a jump up, woman a shout up, woman a nose and she hot. And the reason why she hot, she don't wear barrow funk. You see, oh in a barrow funk, a country hot. Jump around, sing on the place. Get up, stand up and rock. Ninja man, give my tight. Get up, stand up and rock. Turn your toes in on the place. Get up, stand up and rock. Tell them tongue and bring the agony. Get up, stand up and and drop. That's why people love it like it. Get up, stand up and rock. If it's music that they want, you get it. Right round it and come now. Music for white and music for black. Man in a pants and shirt and no man it's up in a frock.